The reporters gathered around Zyok asking him to say a few words. Did he really handle an A-level gate himself? Is there a rumor that he has subdued an S-class hunter? During the recent underground excavation, you've been hiding your awakening level all this time. The lights keep shining on your face, but you still maintain a cold expression. You only happen to make money from this job by chance, not because of your abilities as people imagine, but just luck and a bit of deception that brought you to where you are now. The reporters ask, with a new high-level awakening zone appearing, national security expectations rising, do you have any plans? Zyok thinks to himself, I'm just a mess. I don't even understand what these reporters are asking anymore. You speak up, and if there is a plan, everything will turn out like this. What would happen if Zyok is just an S rank revealed to the public? S-ranked people subdued by Zyok might blow your head off. After becoming enemies with the top tier, will they just leave you alone once you enter the gate with Zyok? Even Zyok could be cursed. Truly a disaster. The people watch the news and listen to my response. What I will do from now on, Zyok is determined. I will not reveal. The reporters start to get excited. They sing out, so you admit you manipulated the awakening rankings? Do you have anything to say to the association? The screaming sounds echo in his mind. He breathes heavily. The microphones keep getting closer to Zyok. Please answer. Meanwhile, he just bows his head and remains silent. My hand loosens with my thoughts. Anyway, the situation is already screwed up, no matter what the article says tomorrow. But if everyone keeps misunderstanding like this, it's no different from being dragged down by this hunting profession. Zyok's hand clenched tightly. He asked the bewildered reporter again, what did you just say? Kim Zyok, please clarify what you're saying. Are you talking about beasts? What do you mean? Are you really a level X? They keep shouting, don't be angry anymore and just answer. Whether you're hiding your true strength or just a useless person, Zyok won't stay on this planet for long. You're giving up. Where did things start to go wrong? Regarding the initial cause being Zyok's resignation, there is something he needs to clarify. Zyok is not from this planet. Anfari, the homeland with a highly developed magical civilization, has his role as the strongest wizard, which is very important. However, one day Zyok thought to himself, I have to quit this job. This job is to serve society, so even if I work to death, I won't get paid. I have to work 640 days without a break. With advanced technology, eating and sleeping became unnecessary, and working overtime was the norm. You wonder, when was the last time you left work on time? So what about this? The problem is how to resign. With Zyok's position, quitting is really difficult. They have a tendency to restrict individuals from abandoning their duties. For example, if you use teleportation magic, you'll get shocked by the electric current. Even if you escape your job, there's nowhere to hide because the entire planet is under the ruler's control. Zyok asked what would happen if he destroyed the exam, but that's impossible. He definitely wouldn't harm anyone on this planet. The range also includes Zyok himself, so it's very difficult to disappear. As he pondered, a new idea arose. Perhaps they could restrict the body using magic. But once he obtained the magic, no, that's right, he still didn't have the soul control magic, so the soul can escape freely. That idea flashed through Zyok's mind, and he was overjoyed. That's it. From that idea, exactly 10 years had passed. After countless attempts, he finally perfected a type of magic. Manipulating souls by splitting them, Zyok can settle on another planet where no one can joy him. You're happy to see the magic work. It's a success. I'm truly a genius. I finally escaped this place. Good luck to you all managing this planet without me. Zyok's soul heads straight for Earth, feeling happy, finally getting what he wanted. In other words, this is his first experience of reincarnation and rebirth. Zyok successfully arrived on Earth. Transformed into a human, tears streaming down his face as the blurry space gradually comes into view. Zyok gradually grew weak, his eyes dimming with exhaustion, then suddenly stopped with a confused expression. Zyok was filled with suspicion. What is this moving like a long protein chain? Luckily, the soul of this body had just left not long ago. But it seems to be working. Reincarnation is nothing to me. You try to speak, say hello, you complain inwardly, even changing languages feels natural. This body looks fine. But why is that all there is to it? According to the plan, it should have inherited the memories, but even the parents of this body wouldn't recognize that the soul has changed. But why can't I remember anything? The memories are fragmented, like scattered pieces. Zyok opened his eyes wide in pain, suspecting what is this? My stomach suddenly hurts so much. He cried out in agony, realizing something was wrong. Suddenly, his body grew sluggish, losing strength. His eyes slowly closed as his energy was drained, images blurred from exhaustion. Finally, his eyes closed and entered a state of tranquility. Zyok screamed inwardly. This body was starving to death. You set a few conditions before activating the magic. Rule number 1, to be reborn as the most magical creature on the planet. If the conditions are met, that creature will naturally develop high intelligence as well. But what I didn't expect was that I overlooked one thing. I forgot the state of the body. Zyok helplessly sighs. He thought even a single-celled creature would be fine. But this is just too much. Inside my head, I feel like someone is pouring acid into my stomach. After reincarnation, I can't use magic and need more time to adapt to the magic on this planet. To stop the pain, I have to put something into my stomach. At this moment, light gently shines through the window. That awakened you. Your consciousness suddenly brightened with light. Zyok's old place is almost entirely surrounded by water, with light rarely reaching it, making it a dark, gloomy blue. He looks out at the new world and makes a conclusion. But the place Zyok arrives at is completely different. His eyes widened with curiosity about the mysterious things happening. Zyok was eager to learn about everything. The warm light and dry air. Your feet are on the ground and the surface beneath is hard. His tired shadow hugs his stomach, complaining. Not the time to look at the sky, but to find something to eat. Zyok moves through the neighborhood, complaining, but no matter how much he searches, his mood turns irritable. Why is there still nothing to eat? What the hell is going on? What's wrong with this planet? No doubt the owner of this body is starving to death. Everything around him turns gray. Zyok pursed his lips in despair. I'll be starving to death too. Suddenly, his eyes lit up as he saw something on the ground. Zyok saw a little worm or bug, but it's too small. No, this isn't the time to be picky. He quickly grabbed it and put it in his mouth, thankful for the meal. Suddenly, Zyok froze when he saw a shadow pass by. He opened his mouth in curiosity, staring at the boy in shock. He's one of his own. Kids aren't teenagers, right? But what did it put in its mouth? Zyok threw the fried snack away, craving it. It's clearly food and looks really tasty. Zyok hesitates. Should I steal or not? Caught in a dilemma, inside the narrow alley are moving cars. He unconsciously followed the boy earlier for the food, and at that moment, the kid noticed something strange and stopped. The kid didn't turn around, but just glanced back quickly. Seeing Zyok in his terrifying form, the boy's face turned pale. Anyone would see it as suspicious. The little kid quickly ran away in fear, and I shouted after him, waiting for him to stop. Zyok looked around in confusion. What's that? He saw a flower pot with inedible plants, but it was still better than stealing someone else's food. And then a loud sound rang out, causing Zyok's movements to stop. His eyes immediately lowered uncontrollably. Are those footsteps and thoughts? Is that the sound of a child's scream? I need to check. Why did the little boy scream? The child just now was crying loudly, his body constantly screaming. In front of the boy is a terrifying giant bird, with sharp eyes and a constantly steaming nose. That bird monster quickly chases after the boy, opening its wide mouth with sharp teeth glinting. The monster bites the boy's backpack with its long beak and lifts it up. Frightened, the boy quickly pulls his hand out of the backpack. And then the boy fell to the ground, his body injured. The beast's steps kept moving closer. Quickly move the child away, and then the bird beast bites the car. It doesn't stop and continues to chase the boy. Get the children out in a panic and save them. Zyok watched from afar as the big bird swooped in. A bird? But it's as big as a house. Just walking down the street and I encounter this. I say in amazement, what kind of crazy planet is this? A really terrible planet. I think, wait, actually, it's not so bad. This body has memory. I can eat the bird. Finally, a wild creature worth targeting. A great mage I can deal with just a single cough. Once you adapt to the magic here, conquering this world is no problem at all. He saw a stream of blue magic flowing through the monster, and it was. The lightning then streaked past Zyok's feet. You are covered by new spiritual energies, and you are surprised, thinking, the magic power is too strong. This feeling sweeps through every cell in your body. That's right, it must be the magic of Earth. Zyok's eyes were stunned for a moment as he thought, but you can't handle that much at once. Zyok thought, comparing it to other planets being just a bucket, and here it's like a whole swimming pool. Then Zyok happily compared himself. Why does such a golden land exist? I hit the jackpot. I marvel at how, with this level of magic, there's nothing I can't do. The child who ran to me earlier, I saved him, sir. Please save him. Zyok's face darkened when he heard the boy call out, Not sir. He patted his head in frustration, barely a little, and then asked for help from this alien. If it weren't for a great mage like me, but someone else, what would happen then? Zyok said sharply. All right, I will help you on one condition. Give me what you're holding in your hand. The surprised boy asked, What? Just as he hesitated, the bird monster was right behind him. The kid immediately burst into tears and begged for the deal. Please save me, I beg you. He quickly stepped forward to protect, turning his back to the predator. Zyok looked up from his eyes at the monster with indifference. Then he calmly demanded, Step back now. As the leader of the 1st Wizard Division responsible for protecting the planet, I can extract it down to the bone with just a gesture. The hand slowly reaches out, but nothing happens after a few minutes. His eyes suddenly turned cold and blank, not understanding what was happening. Zayok girl with Zai like this. Is she feeling tense because of the new environment? He laughed, unable to believe he was like this. Then strange beams of light appeared. Zayok prepares a different stance, trying a burst attack to see if it works. He switches to another spell. If that doesn't work, then water magic. What about the darkness of the evening? The curse is the same. Zayok was confused. Why the curse has no effect? His hand started to thicken. What's happening? Zayok started to panic as his magic wouldn't work. At that moment, the crazy beginner killer was chasing after him, and he ran while begging for his life. Help, I just got out of the alley and Zayok has blocked the road with a four-wheeled vehicle. The driver quickly slammed the brakes, his face full of worry. You dash across the street without paying attention to what's around you. The angry green car driver sticks his head out and yells, not noticing the bird behind him. Thank goodness, or you'd be dead. Realizing his own obstacle, Zayok thought of a plan. If it saw him, it would chase, so he had to run in another direction. At this moment, beginner killer stomped hard, causing the road to shatter into pieces. It crazily chases after Zayok, regardless of what's in its way, soaring just above the road surface and knocking smaller vehicles into the air. He was completely confused by this scene, feeling anxious inside, even though he had reached the main road. Why was it only chasing him? He hadn't eaten anything yet and felt too weak. Zayok gasped, sweat pouring down, signs of exhaustion clearly showing on his face. To lose beginner killer, he quickly changed direction, but now he has to chase after him instead. Beginner killer keeps destroying everything in his way to catch up with Zayok. It used the car as a spring to jump really high, spread its wings, and soared to the sky at incredible speed. Zayok kept getting more anxious as he looked up at the sky. While flying, at one point it suddenly lunged down with sharp claws and long teeth, making Zayok feel like his life was about to end again, like he was about to be eaten, when suddenly a burst of suppressed energy in his knee caused a sharp, mind-numbing pain. Zayok didn't understand what was happening. Was this body cursed? 1 second later, just as beginner killer was about to catch him, at the most critical moment, Zayok suddenly fell face down to the ground and missed a good chance to escape. He hurriedly got up, but it was already too late. At this moment, a mysterious force appears, a bright red light passing over his head. The light contains immense power, knocking the beginner killer back. After the creature hurriedly pierced through all obstacles, its beak finally struck the ground. Throughout the whole ordeal, Zayok only knew to clutch his head and close his eyes tightly in silence. After a while of everything settling down, he slowly opened his eyes to look around. The bright red feathers quietly fell from the sky, making Zayok exclaim in surprise. Zayok approaches the bird's head, puzzled. What is this? What just happened? He walks around examining the broken stones, asking himself and answering. Could it have run into the wall on its own? Zayok stared at it for a moment before dismissing the idea. This bird seems so reckless. He wondered how a stupid creature like this could survive, considering it was in a dangerous position, crashed into a wall, and died. I want to ask Earth scholars how such an foolish being exists. Your stomach growling brought you back to reality, not the time to ask about that. You touched the beginner killer and considered, this must be a bird that can be eaten and rested. Since it is a creature on this planet, its amino acid structure must be the sound wave behind, attracting Zayok's attention. How did you do it? Wuian stood frozen, looking at him speechless, her face stiff to the point that even her mask couldn't hide her expression. A few minutes ago, the boy called the police and urged them to hurry. The boy runs away in fear, thinking someone has been caught instead of him. She quickly ran after the urging, we can't afford to delay. Wuian asked, is this the final location? The police officer immediately responded, yes. Worried about their safety, she ordered everyone to stay here. She analyzes this species, the beginner killer, a monster that thrives near the Samarkand area gate. It started as a level E monster that could be subdued with ordinary weapons on Earth, but at some point its level suddenly rose to C, and because it moved at missile speed, sub-C level hunters were eliminated before they could even see it. You need to act quickly before anyone gets hurt. As Wuian was scared, Zayok's figure standing next to the beginner killer made her freeze, waiting for a strike. Someone is coming. Her face froze in confusion as she didn't understand what was happening. Zayok's clone beside the beginner killer collapsed. Wuian's face twisted in surprise from this sudden turn, revealing her shock and confusion. Seeing her frozen, the police officer quickly called out, what's going on? Wuian breathes heavily, then turns her head and softly calls out officer. The boy quickly responds, sir, I already called the police. Officer Yen stepped forward and said to Zayok, oh my god, thank you for your hard work, sir. We received a report of a monster appearing, so we rushed over. Luckily it's nearby. Thank you for catching it. Wuian stood from afar feeling uneasy. He caught it so quickly. How fortunate. This person really just happened to come across the monster by chance. Wuian. Wuian realized it makes some sense. The habitat of the beginner killer is a sand-covered gate, causing people to sink into it so it's easier to catch outside the gate than inside. In the rugged terrain outside, you can kill it without using your hands as long as you control its angle well, but that's only possible if you have sharp eyesight, can release it from the angle or use it to kill it, but don't follow its movements. Looking closely, it was killed in a proper way. If that's the case, this person must at least be a master. Zayok's shadow spoke, calling the boy, "Damn it, kid. Kid, don't forget the promise between us, right?" The boy stared blankly at Zayok, then reluctantly bit down and handed the water bottle to Zayok. He immediately brought the bottle to his mouth and drank. But as soon as his tongue touched it, his eyes lit up. This thing is so delicious. I have evolved my body so I don't need to eat for years, yet there's an incredibly delicious egg like this in the world, you. Seeing you eat so happily, Song-woo looked at Zayok with a strange expression. He just took the kid's food. You! The boy was stunned and exclaimed, determined to defend his own decision. Thinking no more, she approached to greet him. "Hello, sir. I am from the Sand Worker Association. My name is Song-woo Yan. You handled the monster without a scratch." Zayok didn't wipe his hands but answered directly, "Yes." Wu Yan wasn't too concerned and wiped her hands before asking, "I didn't recognize you around here. You are a self-proclaimed artisan. Could I see your worker's card? I need to report this to the guild." Zayok carefully eats a fresh tangerine while thinking, what is a worker's card? Just making things up, then Zayok calmly says, "Sorry, I didn't bring my worker's card." Wu Yan sighed and didn't make things difficult for you. "I understand, then I will register you as a member of the association. What's your name?" Hearing that, he nervously stammered, "Well," Zayok thought to himself, "this is bad. I don't even know the name of this body." Seeing his confusion, many question marks appeared in her mind. Wu Yan shouted, "At least you registered as a minor, right? What about the awakening test? Don't tell me you used your awakening ability. You're on the main road without registration," she shouted, making Zayok panic and wake up. "That's illegal, you know." Zayok waited, confused about what they were talking about, came up with a solution himself, but wondered if he could be deceived like this. Thinking that, Zayok quickly came up with a reasonable explanation. "Of course not, I already registered, but I forgot my worker card at home. If you wait here, I will bring it right away." After saying that, he hurriedly left this hellish place. He was scared, but still tried to walk confidently, never taking this path again. When he got home, Zayok searched everywhere to see. After looking around, he picked up a small card. Here it is. Zayok looked at the ID card and silently thought, "Kim Kirayo, so this is my connection. But I can't find any sign of a worker here, so this body has never registered as a worker." Zayok's eyes and the pile of cigarette butts and empty packs beside him looked confused. What's going on? Why is everything so complicated? He looks through the cigarette packs, recalling memories to figure out what happened. Suddenly, Zayok realizes there is an issue. The spiderweb scars on this body from before, and then he remembers the cigarettes. Zayok realizes the problem he's facing. This body's owner smokes a lot of cigarettes. He clenches the cigarette pack tightly around his neck. Damn it, this guy is heavily addicted to smoking. Smoking can be fatal for mages. Mages combine magic within their bodies with natural external magic to cast spells. Now there is a question. What organ is used to combine internal and external magic? That organ is the respiratory system, specifically the lungs. Zayok screamed like crazy, so that's why he couldn't cast magic. What is it that caused him to destroy his own lungs? In Amphori, where most of the population uses magic, this is unimaginable. You'd think they are just primitives, but who would have guessed there's a madman like this? Zayok sighs to regulate his breathing and calm himself down. Stay calm. Then he exclaimed, "And it's over. What should I do now? This is my way. Because I was blinded by magic and didn't realize this deficient body." He steps towards the mirror, pondering silently. There must be a way to heal. In the end, I have escaped from there. I can't give up just because of this small matter. I will live the rest of my life in this new land, and I will definitely live happily. You stand in front of the mirror, pondering for a long time. The confused security guard hides Zayok. "Hey, how can someone as knowledgeable as you do that? There's chaos happening right now, and you don't seem to care or respond. I apologize." Zayok had neglected life on the harsh planet and was captured just hours after arriving on Earth. His battered body was so shocking that even a mother and her child passing by were stunned. 10 minutes had already passed since the personal investigation began. You clutch your stomach, face pale, body trembling. Zayok feels extremely hungry. Your inner voice laments to the sky, "With so many things to investigate about Earth, I need to fix this malnutrition." Just as I was about to run out of energy, a faint scent wafted by. Wait, what is that smell? You're standing in front of a street only Zayak can see, roasted pork. A few minutes later, a steaming bowl of pork was brought out. Here is your pork. Zayak looked at the bowl, tears of joy welling up. I didn't expect there to be food lately. I'm making things difficult for myself. I want the first bite to go straight into my mouth, then I can check it. Soon after, its aroma filled his mind, and a beam of happiness lit up his eyes. With that spoon, Zayak ate eagerly and non-stop. It's so delicious, even though it's hot, I can't stop. My mouth keeps moving on its own. Yeah, at that part, it's still okay. Just that part. A while later, Zayak was in a different place and being reprimanded for theft. Is the country at war or something that a young person like you has to eat and then run away like this? Zayak kept waving his hands nervously when suddenly a police officer recognized him and exclaimed in surprise, "Aren't you the hunter from before?" The police officer warned him not to do that again and said he would let you go as a first warning. Zayak happily bowed in gratitude, promising to pay the restaurant. Can I go now? He took out some kind of card from his shirt and handed it over. Wait a moment before you leave here. According to the investigation, it seems you are an unregistered hunter with the association, probably just awakening to the full screen for free. Remember to stop by. I'm so jealous. Zayak leaves with the paper, his mind full of questions. What is the awakening they talk about? Is this something everyone on Earth should know about? He keeps talking to himself. Maybe I should check it out. It's not far away. After a while, he arrived at the building in the picture. The central building was extremely large and luxurious. You stare intently at this magnificent structure, unable to look away. Is this the evaluation center? Your eyes widen in amazement as if you've never seen it before. A fleeting memory flashes back. Has Kim Zayak been here before? On the blank sheet, the lowest rank in the industry is the forced level. And only now does Zayak realize the problem. I remember now, Kim Zayak is a fake awakening at the forced level. A familiar voice echoes, catching my attention. Hello, we meet again. Zayak turned to greet her casually. Hello? Wuian asked curiously. What brings you to the association? Since you've been here before, could you give it to me? That hunter's license. Suddenly my mouth just blurted out and hurt myself. A hunting license? I'll bring it right away. Oh no, I already lied earlier about bringing it. Luckily I remembered a little, so I can respond. I suspected, so Zayak immediately apologized, saying he was overwhelmed at the time, but actually I don't have a hunter's license yet. Wuian thought helplessly, blaming him for not coming back. Zayak added another sentence to justify himself, saying, I am a registered fake awakener, but I haven't activated it because I was too disappointed with the results. Wuian suddenly exclaimed, Huh. Zayak calmly said, I am a level enforcer. Hearing that, her face froze in shock. You are a level enforcer, so how can you catch a beginner killer? He straightforwardly replied, just luck. Zayak describes that moment when that stupid bird suddenly headbutted the wall. Hearing his words, Wuian was stunned and looked at him. Wuian helplessly pondered. A beginner killer can't adapt to the environment and accidentally sacrifice themselves, or maybe they do, but the person I saw then, with such a relaxed expression, has already killed hundreds of C-rank monsters without a hint of fear. Why is he hiding his true strength? Most of the awakened ones who conceal their levels are dangerous individuals involved in illegal activities. A growing concern filled Wuian's mind. Could this person be? Zayak thought for a moment and then just chuckled to brush it off. I get it now. You're really lucky. Beginner killers are known to have very low intelligence. Seeing Wuian's expressions change constantly, I thought to myself, that's right, Earth people use very subtle facial movements to show emotions. I need to learn how to express myself better to become more friendly. Let's try it out. Your facial muscles move as you speak, yes. Your forced smile distorts your face and makes everyone shiver. I really am lucky. That adorable smile hit me like a thunderbolt, and Wuian's suspicion grew stronger. What kind of expression is this? He's extremely suspicious. I need to get out of here first, so I quickly put my hand into my shirt pocket and, lowering my voice, said, I have something to give you, so what's your name? What's your... You provided the essential information. I am Kim Zayak. She handed you the yellow paper. All right, Mr. Zayak, here you go. That's exactly a 50,000 won bill. At this moment, my mind was full of question marks. Giving money to greet someone? What universe has such a custom? Curious, I asked, why did you give this to me? Wuian explained everything. He left the corpse of the beginner killer. I had to deal with it, and that money belongs to him. Hearing that, Zayak immediately imagined a bowl of pork slices. The dish he ate earlier costing 8,000 won per portion. And with this thin piece of paper, he could eat 6 bowls. I didn't expect that bird to be worth that much. Are their horns expensive? Wuian casually mentions that a beginner killer's body has no value. But luckily for him, when it had a magic stone inside, a C-grade one worth about 2 million won. Ziak was startled and immediately asked, "Wait a minute, 2 million won, but I only get 50,000 won." Wuian replied when he saw your confusion, saying that the damage caused by catching that monster was blamed on her by the higher-ups, and the repair costs, don't worry about them. She did a good job walking away. She calmly looked at your face and said it was all under her name. If those people hadn't run away, we could have legalized the hunting, and your words hit straight into your vulnerable heart. I apologize. Her lips hesitated, as if she was about to say something, but then Wuian chose to turn away and leave her be. It's okay. Have a good afternoon. You watched that figure's back for a long time, then looked down at the money in your hand, torn apart for no reason. 2 million won. In my hometown, that bird is no different from a pest crawling on the road. 200,000 won to eliminate it could buy 75 bowls of soup and rice. To save this planet, to live a happy life, to enjoy that ideal life, Ziok needs more money. A face full of pleasure and satisfaction appears openly. Then Zioka clenches the bill tightly, a joyful smile on his face. I have to become a hunter. Honestly, until today's lunch, Zioka's future was truly uncertain. The owner of this body is extremely poor, and spending money on a bowl of soup will wipe out all his savings. But now it's different. You know that being a hunter can make you money, so Zok will hunt using magic to survive, even though he can't use magic yet. I need just enough monsters, and while I'm looking for a way, someone shouts, "Hey, there's an open gate over there." Zok's eyes light up as he looks in the direction pointed out. A gate. People passing by are also excited. It's the first time I see a real gate like this. No way. Is it really that big? Down below, 2 more guards are carefully watching to prevent anyone who isn't a hunter from passing through the gate. Images of figures being built around the monsters appear. The hunter's badges and the gates are ranked according to their mana density. The higher the level, the more dangerous the monsters inside become. The strange mana density is real. They say there are monsters living inside. I need to analyze this, but with your current state, it's really hard to enter the portal. Just as you're confused, a mana flow appears. Are there any nearby portals? He followed the trail step by step to escape the crowd. What is this? The portal is deep inside the quiet forest. It's nearby. After a while, Ziok placed his hand on the tree trunk to support himself, wiping the sweat from his face. Another gate appeared. Why is it so crooked? Damn it. Earthlings really have strange decorations. You just calmly walk through the gate, so why does it need ancient tree decorations? A few minutes later, the real team arrives, and Yuan Song reports before stepping through, "Hello, Manager A. We've just arrived at the gate." The person on the other end of the line asked, "Yes, Yuan Song A, are there any civilians nearby?" He stood behind the barricade, probably reviewing the report. "It's okay, the barrier has been set up already." The manager sighed and said, "This mutation cluster is really troublesome. I don't know how many escalations there have been this month." Yuan Song replied, "Don't worry, we will start the investigation immediately." After reporting, he hung up and prepared for the mission, putting on full protective gear and telling everyone to go. Among the 4 of them, someone exclaimed, "It smells terrible!" A cave in the middle of summer. Yuan Song looked at the measuring device and told them, "According to the measurement, what level is the magic density in this dungeon?" The bespectacled guy from the girl group immediately said, "It's always like this, like a rule. Whenever the gate has an incident, the level always jumps up by 2. He nervously looks around, handles it quickly, and then goes to drink. Yuan Song cautiously suggested, "Maybe we should slow down a bit. We're going too fast." He turned back gently and asked why. Worriedly observing everything around us. "We've been walking for quite a while but haven't seen any signs of monsters, so I thought maybe we should." He calms Yuan Song by patting his head a few times. Yuan Song, confused, rubs his head curiously and is even scolded, "Oh my, you're still young, so why are you like this?" We have Yuan Song in our team, breathing at level A after all. As soon as that sentence was spoken, reality hit him hard, and he was gone for good, no need to worry. Zok stroked his chin, realizing he had gone deeper into the cave and entered the wrong gate A, so why hadn't he seen any monsters yet? Suddenly, he felt a surge of energy pass through his hand. Each line of energy floats around him in the dark space of the cave. His sharp eyes quickly become alert. This is mana. Although few and rough, they are full of vitality. Ziok hesitates before following the path where the mana originated, wondering if it belongs to a human. He detects that the energy comes from the gate, confused, suspecting someone else has also entered. At this moment, he hears the squelching footsteps approaching. He quickly hides behind a rock. "Z, what's going on over there?" He tilted his head to follow each movement, wondering what that was. It was the massive figure of the golem approaching, with its glowing eye looking truly terrifying. Its pile still bears the bloodstains from the recent battle. Beneath its massive body, there is a team of 3 people. The glowing purple eyes of the golem in the lonely space terrify others, as blood from its hand splatters onto Yuan Song's handsome face. He looked at the bloodied body collapsed on the ground without saying a word. Sung Min's eyes widened in horror. Oh my God, they went to see the King of Hell after just one punch. Johnny was just as panicked. No way. Yuan Song shouted loudly, "Don't panic, stay calm. If we make a mistake, all of us will be." At this moment, he shouted a warning. "Yuan Song, behind you." His sharp eyebrows furrowed tightly as he quickly moved backward. Yuan Song swiftly created a large mana shield to protect himself. The golem's devastating attack clashes directly with the mana shield, and Yuan Song braces himself to knock the golem's fist away. He was shaken by the power of its strike and used his strength to lift the shield upwards. Then he put all his strength into smashing the shield down to the ground, causing a tremor. Its legs lost balance and fell backward due to the shockwave. Its body also toppled backward from that moment. At this point, he used all his strength to leap up. Then Yuan Song roared like a thunderbolt and charged straight at it. Yuan Song struck the golem's body like a bolt of lightning. Jiok let out an exasperated sigh from behind the rock as a thin trail of smoke revealed Yuan Song sitting on the golem's body. His human form shrank, heavy breathing escaping. Sung Min sneered, as expected from Yuan Song, even with a defensive class. An A rank is still an A rank. Johnny also joined the fight, holding off that giant creature. He stood up. "I will heal Yuan Min's body. Let's go back." At that moment, Golem's eyes lit up from behind, accompanied by a spine-chilling sound. Hearing the noise, Yuan Song quickly turned his head. Who could have expected the golem to swiftly grab Yuan Song, causing his entire body to tremble? Its eye glowed with a chilling purple hue. It brutally crushes Yuan Song's body against the rock with its giant hand, and due to the imbalance of internal energy, Yuan Song keeps spitting out fresh blood from his mouth. Then it lifted his body up again and forcefully threw him far away. Sung Min, increasingly panicked, shouted loudly, "Yuan Song!" And at this moment, Sung Min launched an attack on its massive body. Surprisingly, that powerful energy caused its entire body to lose balance. Sung Min's glowing purple pupils emit a light revealing mana nearby. He decisively drew out his sharp sword and slashed upward, splitting its body in 2. Sung Min quickly uses his inner strength to jump up. In the smoky, foggy space, his determined face delivers decisive sword strikes. Suddenly he panicked, sweating profusely as he saw the sword break in half. Golem decisively punched Sung Min away with a gentle blow. His body was thrown backward over Johnny's shoulder, leaving only her bright red dress silhouette standing proudly as he collapsed to the ground in pain. The chilling atmosphere she feels is gradually closing in, with its enormous figure 10 times larger, charging straight at her. Johnny glances back, causing Junlebei's entire body to tremble in fear as Golem's clenched fist slowly lowers towards her. In that thick space, her body seemed to only know how to surrender as it was defeated. But at this moment, a shadow swooped in at terrifying speed. Yuan Song summoned a barrier with all her strength to withstand Golem's fist, but her condition seemed unable to hold on for long, as blood kept streaming down from her head, covering Junlebei. She could only bite her lip in fear and scream out, now quickly cast the binding spell. "If we don't eat that thing again, we won't be able to survive and escape from here." She struggles to endure the pain, knowing the entire team will be wiped out. Blood drips from Yuan Sung's head down to her forehead. "What are you waiting for, sister? Hurry up." Yuan Sung, with sweat streaming down his face, stared intently at her. As he waited, he heard the sound of her footsteps scraping against the ground as she ran away. Yuan Sung was terrified and ran away. "What are you doing? Where are you going? Are you abandoning us?" Johnny biting down and fleeing, "abandoning your conscience." His gaze shifted to Cheomin struggling, but what about Cheomin? That's not right. His pale face drenched in sweat. "Genji, don't abandon us. Mankian is showing signs of breaking," he pleads. "Don't run away." At this moment, the sound of its fist violently pounding the ground echoes loudly, crushing Yuan Sung's body with pain as fresh blood splatters everywhere. Among the vast battlefield, now only his lonely, cold body remains. What I feel after being betrayed is not anger, but resistance. I gained A-rank awakening power. Invitations from major guilds poured in due to the dungeon break phenomenon, meeting good connections, forming a team, achieving greater conquests of gates. Everything seemed to be going so smoothly. But in the end, it all ended like this. Truly too tragic. At that moment, a beer bottle suddenly flew straight at the giant golem. It quickly realized and began to scan the surroundings. Amidst the cold, oppressive space, Zayok calmly spoke. truly unable to look anymore. This is the true nature of Earth Person A. Dad, thanks to that, I was able to complete the analysis. Looking up close like this, it's clear, but it's too outdated. Dad, it's okay. Nice to meet you here, Golem. Golems, beings made of Earth, use mana as their core energy. Golems hold countless roles in Anfari, from daily tasks like manual labor, crafting, and construction to combat. Anfari is truly a nation built by the hands of Golem. Zayok ponders quietly. Even his own field is the art of Golem warfare. The reason there are no monsters around is because this big guy is on guard, so it seems like this gate belongs to someone. Anyway, I've already alerted the guard, so leaving easily isn't an option. Zayok slowly took his hand out of his pocket. I guess I have to fight now. I can't use magic, but there must be another way. The giant arm shot out like lightning, trying to grab Zayok. He quickly dodged perfectly, and that strike shattered the ground, and debris flew everywhere. The golem swiftly throws a punch at him, but he gently tilts his head to the side to dodge the attack. This made the golem angrier, and it continued its furious attack, but Zayok easily dodged it. Witnessing the terrifying power of that thing, Zayok tensed up, sweat streaming down his face. His expression had turned pale somehow. Despite being confident and strong, why isn't everything going according to the script? I can dodge Golem's attack because of its size and clumsiness, but Zayok also gradually felt exhausted, silently lamenting this torn body. It's so addictive. Suddenly, he sensed something and turned his gaze to the left. The golem has been there all along. Zayok leans back to dodge that attack. Just a second slower, and he would have been done for. The golem pulls back its fist, ready for the next strike, and then it gathered even more strength. Zayok continued to fall backward, and its fist swung past his face. But Golem still refuses to give up, continuing to push forcefully towards him. It delivers a powerful strike that sends him flying 3 meters away. He fell backward for quite a distance and sat on the ground. At this moment, its hand was trapped beneath the surface. Seeing the Golem's hand stuck in that hole, Zayok was overjoyed. The opportunity had come. He stood up, ready to counterattack, as deactivating the Golem was very simple. The carved gemstone on the Golem's arm is not just a decoration. It's actually a magic energy sensor. I just need to send the emergency stop command to this sensor, and it's over. For security reasons, only the owner and the creator of the golem know the emergency stop command. But this kind of rough and simple golem is too easy to detect the magic command. Zayok's hand moved the spell onto the crystal, and his entire body emitted a fierce blue light. And then the golem's eyes turned red and started to flicker. It finally collapsed, causing a significant shockwave. Since Zayok only activated the emergency stop command, it naturally didn't completely shut down. To switch it to the standby mode, you need to remove the core located in its back center. You slowly step forward toward the golem's core, this core. Zayok stares intently at its core, which must be removed. He places his hand on the protective stone and gently lifts it up. Doing this by hand isn't the best choice, but I have no other options. As the stone was gently lifted, a light shone from a small crack. Zayok carefully looks inside the golem's core. Inside, there's a massive spherical energy block. He focused all his strength to remove its core, causing the internal wires to snap and sparks to fly. In the end, he carefully took the energy sphere out of the golem's body. The monster finally stopped moving. The energy sphere gradually lost its power. Zayok held the sphere in his hand like a prized trophy. Too easy. At this moment nearby, Yuan Song is lying on the ground. The blood on his body has almost clotted. Yuan Song's hand relaxes on the ground. At this moment, his hand gently trembles as he breathes heavily. In this life and death moment, he remembers his mother's words. Yuan Song. Mom knows you want to be a hunter, but do you realize how dangerous this job really is? At that moment, Yuan Song replied casually, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm just pretending to be a level A consciousness." But his mother was still worried, though she also said she might be wrong. She respects her child's wishes, but if something were to happen... Before you could finish speaking, he took your hand, Mom. Now that I am a recognized hunter, you don't need to worry anymore. I promise to show you my success as a hunter. Mother Yuan Song looked at him, and he vowed, just this once, trust your son. Immediately after he said goodbye to his mother and left home. Yet Yuan Song's mother still felt very worried, Yuan Song. His mother gently advised him to be careful in everything he does. Yuan Song dreams and opens his eyes after that rain. He struggled to stand up empty-handed. Although his body was still trembling with spasms, Yuan Song forced himself to lift his body. A flicker of surprise flashed in his eyes as if he had just seen something unexpected. Yuan Song's face was the scene of him standing proudly atop the golem. What is this scene? What just happened? Did he really defeat that golem without any weapons? More importantly, how did he get in here? I'm sure there's someone guarding and checking who comes and goes. Could it be that Yuan Song is thinking about taking him down? He's a hunter. He throws the golem to the ground and slowly approaches Yuan Song. Yuan Song sees this and thinks, he's coming here. He was extremely tense, unable to hold back and only cursed. Damn it. Yuan Song was exhausted and still couldn't move. He looked up in surprise. You suddenly called out, making Yuan Song jump. Hey! Diok extends his hand to offer help. Do you need assistance? The sunlight shines down on the tall buildings. A furious voice rang out. So this is the damn bastard's name? You want to make it headline-worthy like this? Yuan Song replied calmly. But the newspaper didn't say anything wrong, Yuan Song, right? Your tone is so full of suspicion. Why wait until later? I understand it was another hunter who defeated the monster. It's not you, but you don't even know that person's name. If that person is stronger than you, there's no reason they wouldn't be famous. But look, no one knows about them. Maybe they haven't even registered as a hunter. Fortunately, the reporter only focused on the A-class monster. Besides, if this continues, Yuan Song will be so shocked he'll slam the table. Director, his words are full of meaning. I did it for you, Yuan Song. This will only tarnish your reputation. Even if you're an A-class hunter, if you reveal your weakness, you'll immediately become a target for others. You know that, right? Why didn't you say that you were the one who defeated that golem? He was determined. I'm sorry. I think it's better to be honest. That is the minimum courtesy I show to that hunter. That person is not the type to do illegal things. He asked again, are you sure? Yuan Song believes that if he had malicious intent, he wouldn't have let me live. He is a good person. I really want to repay him. I understand now why he is silent. If you've said that, I'll leave now from the sofa. He nodded. Yes. The room suddenly fell silent and heavy as Trang looked up at the chair, wondering if the hunter could easily kill the golem, and if Yuan Song's team couldn't handle it either. There really is a powerful hunter with such integrity. I want to meet him once. It's impressive. In a small room, Jiok attentively looks at his phone screen. You secretly marvel at how the earth really is divine. Last night I accidentally unlocked my phone and it's been like this all night. Curious. What is this? Jiok explains that she can freely access information even without being part of the privileged class. Is this heaven? Thanks to that, I have gathered a lot of information. The first portal you entered is not private property. The information is still ongoing. Second, each gate has different access restrictions because South Korea is a country that regulates fake items. Entry must be approved in advance. That organization is the Korean Hunters Association, abbreviated as Hunhup. Third, Yuan Song is not a thief trying to steal items inside the gate. You mock him, this guy is AA rank. Now it's time to plan your next move. It seems I need to get my hunter's license first. At the training ground, Jinnah announces that this is a theoretical safety training session. We will distribute the equipment shortly. Please wait. Gok yawned deeply, frowning, basically saying, don't be reckless in front of the monsters. The trainer is distributing equipment. Now I will hand out the gear. Here, take this. You look extremely confused. Gok asked in surprise. What is this? That caused everyone to whisper and gossip. Gee, he doesn't know about this. It's really surprising. You chose that. Where has he been living all this time? On the mountain. Is he from another planet or something? You're a bit panicked, revealing that you're an outsider. He explains that this is a basic analysis device that uses magic eye technology. And I will explain how to use it right now. Jiok doubts the magic lens. Gina gives the first mission. Okay, everyone has received the analysis device, right? Then please take a picture of this monster through the lens. You secretly think, you want me to photograph that thing. Target analysis complete. Poisonous butterfly. Grade F. Gok suspects that Earthlings use tools to identify enemies. Taihun says all analysis machines not only verify monsters, but also have item search functions. You ask again. The item will help you find effective resources, so try looking around. Gok hands the weapon to Taehun, but the data display shows no data found. He realizes it's ineffective on person A. The object moves to a red bush. The display shows hot fruit, a type characterized by red muscles made of many different fibers. Gok understood the mechanism, so this must be the item recognition function, and it also recognizes this object. But the result was not as expected, unable to find any data. Gok doubts humanity. What is this? It can distinguish illusions you found out. Wait, stone could it be? It only recognizes objects with mana. Distinguishing between assigning value and things without mana. Although convenient, it's not a very accurate method. There are still things that seem magical but don't contain mana. This land is just a deceptive illusion. At first glance, it's just an ordinary piece of land. Absorption magic. A rare spell that can absorb mana. Jiok thought. It seems no one here knows about absorption magic, but it's strange. If this world is quite advanced in magic research, there's no reason they wouldn't recognize absorption magic. He pondered. Why does no one know about this? Then suddenly he had a realization, waiting for the right moment. Jiok stepped forward and asked, do you know when fake awakeners started appearing in Korea? He replied, Yes, of course. It was 7 years ago, and at that time, Korea's shock caused the imposters to appear worldwide. Gung was extremely stunned by the information he just heard. What? 7 years ago? Just 7 years ago, the magic history of Anfari has already been over 600 years. I see. You have to live with these primitive people? No wonder all the tools here have electricity but look very strange. It's not possible for electrical technology to have developed so quickly. Xiok Shui 2, primitive magical knowledge, contrasted with a modern level of technology, and the evolution happened in an unusual way. Truly amazing. He looked down at the ground and made up his mind, then gently clenched a handful of dirt. I can use this low-level magic without anyone knowing. Helping you earn money is tough, but if you have enough determination, that makes you a hunter. But compared to flowery words woven by tradition, the lives of low-level hunters are no different from hell. He thought to himself that his leg was injured and he couldn't use magic, so before running out of money and starving again, he needed to find a way to earn some cash. Xiok looked into the bag beside him. I have now collected a lot of mana using the spirit absorption technique. According to the clues, it seems like this can kill some types of monsters on Earth, but the problem is they only appear at level K gates, but I'm level F, so according to the rules, I'm not allowed to enter. Since I don't understand much about Earth from absorbing mana with the Great Spirit technique, and my body possessed is also level F, it's a bit strange. As I was lost in thought, suddenly my phone rang, startling me. Damn, my soul is burning. This is an emergency website alert warning of a monster escape from the Red Gate Hell near Mapo district in Seoul. There is a level B monster, and after confirming its route, people are evacuating quickly, feeling a bit confused. What's going on? He looked at the image and guessed, evacuation? Then, while changing clothes, he wondered to himself, what does evacuation mean? Xiok puts on his suit and quickly heads outside to check the situation. Let's see. As soon as I went outside, I saw everyone panicking and running around wildly. The monster has escaped from the hell prison. Wow, that's a level B monster, huge as hell. That comment caught your attention about the monster in front. The monster, which looks like a dinosaur with a long tongue, is standing on top of a tower, and people are pushing each other to get a closer look at what it looks like. Jinho pushed through while running, bumping into Xiok and apologizing, causing him to fall to the ground, and he looked at him with disdain. What kind of weakling is this? Just a gentle push and they fell down. These people are just standing in the way, eavesdropping and causing trouble. You just glanced and got scolded, acting all defiant, huh? Xiok didn't understand what he was saying. What the hell, I was just looking. He turns the camera towards Xiok. Your older brother is brave, huh? Does he know I'm a hunter? Let's be honest, we're not on the same level. I wouldn't risk my life just to get close to a monster on a whim. I haven't awakened any special powers like my brother. I'm here to gather data for my research. Xiok stood up, so I did too. I'm also a hunter and came here for the same reason as him. He asked, oh really, what level hunter are you? You straightforwardly reply, level 5. Hearing that, he bursts into a mocking laugh. That's so fake. You're thinking, hey, did he just laugh? That guy was just laughing, right? Right now you're still wondering if he's laughing at you or not. Suddenly, the Tyrannosaurus started roaring loudly as it saw the helicopters circling around. After reaching the target, the soldiers inside the helicopters aimed their guns at the monster and fired continuously. The bullets hitting its shell instantly burst into flowers of fire, then it swung its tail to strike the helicopter. One helicopter lands on the ground and explodes, while the other helicopter, along with a few hunters including Yuan Song, assists the hunters in approaching the target. The monster sucks its head into the glass, making it crack and scare everyone. It then uses its net to tightly wrap around 2 innocent civilians. The 2 villagers are being dragged out while screaming in fear, as the monster's red eyes, filled with human-like red reflections, see through their terror. The hunter pulls out his sword and cuts the monster's tongue in 2, causing it to roar in pain, and the 2 villagers are saved. Yuan Song saw the monster heading towards the villagers. He realized it was too dangerous and shouted loudly, warning that the monster was about to attack the people. She immediately stopped aiming her bow at the monster and gathered magic into her arrow. Xiaoyun fired 2 missile arrows into the monster's tail. The powerful wind arrow immediately tore off its tail from its body, causing the monster immense pain and forcing it to stop attacking and quickly retreat to escape. It was just about to retreat when he roared, its eyes blazing red. He activated the infiltration skill and aimed at the monster. The blow and contact made it curl like a shrimp before falling to the ground. He launched an attack with a blue energy glow merging with his determined gaze. Using the power from above, he continued to raise his shield in front and delivered another strike to its midsection, showing intense focus and unwavering fighting spirit. It was hit with a powerful attack from him, crying out in pain and agony. Its neck was broken by him, and it was finished. Yun takes a deep breath, standing in front of his achievement. Everyone around cheers loudly. We did it. They really caught it. The stadium team is really good. I wonder if we can take a picture with it. I've learned one thing recently through my investigations. In the world, A-class groundskeepers are the top 3% of awakened individuals. They are a powerful force vital for city safety and are idols to many. Maybe that's why everyone is eager to see an A-class hunter. You are overwhelmed by the crowd pushing and shoving, and you are Yuan Song. Hunter Yuan Song. I just saw you here. Yuan Song walks up and stands in front of Jiok and says hello. He suddenly grabbed Jiok's hand, pulling it up and down. He's the benefactor, right? I never expected to meet you here. If it weren't for you back then, I wouldn't have been able to hold on to my life. Maybe you don't remember who I am, but I am the person you helped at that gate. You alone stopped that golem. You were so cool back then. Jiok let out a sound, remembering. The guy from earlier when you were surprised, he blamed your boyfriend. He looks familiar. Jinho overheard their conversation, turned to look at him, and noticing his pale face, he asked him carefully, "But you came with this person." Yunsung looked at him. "I noticed earlier that you had anticipated this person. I'm not angry." Jiok silently thought that if it were me, I would have anticipated it. The two of them staring at him made him pale and stammer, unable to speak. Well then. Immediately after, Yunsung withdrew her gaze and smiled, saying, "Well, since we've met, may I introduce myself? I am Yuan Song. If possible, could you tell me your name?" Jiok answers, "Kim Ki-ryl." He happily replied, "So your name is Kim Ki-ryl." Jiok took the card and continued to ask, "So are you free now?" She said with a smile, "I have something to say." You look surprised and lower your voice, asking what's going on. "You really want to repay me." Yuan Song, the girl with the loud voice, snapped back. Jiok seems like he doesn't like it, but there's really no other choice. I always feel uncomfortable. Ever since you disappeared, you still have my back. Why are you lost in thought? Back then you only knew how to run away from the police. There's nothing wrong with a level A hunter wanting to repay a favor. I don't want him to be disappointed, Jiok added. Actually, yes. Yuan Sung's face lit up with excitement, and her voice unconsciously grew louder. Really, just leave it to me. The team is showing a specific location on the map. You dropped your phone and speak in a steady voice. Can you follow me to the gate for a moment? The sky here is very gloomy, and the forest is withered and lifeless. Jiok turned to ask, "What's wrong? Your face hasn't looked good all this time." He hesitated and denied it, saying there was nothing. Yuan Sung urged him to go ahead, so let's pick up the pace. He politely replied, "Yes. No matter how I think about it, I just can't believe it." Yuan Sung silently marvels. After an amazing hunter like Jiok, just a few minutes ago it was an honor to raid the gate together with him. He was planning to gather materials. He quickly denied it, saying he didn't intend to hunt monsters. He was so surprised that he said, "Then I will learn from you." Jiok sighed. "I need to clarify a few things because someone who needs to is misunderstanding." Yuan Sung, still confused and not understanding anything, responded unconsciously, "Yes. You point to the hunter card in your hand. I am a forced level hunter, so just consider me as a porter." Returning to reality, Yuan Sung was still confused, lost in thought. Is he really a forced level? Is the measuring device broken? Yuan Sung nodded to reassure himself. Yes, he had also heard that fake mid- and high-level awakenings are often forced and involve dungeon collapses. There are rumors that some people will awaken at the right level to avoid control by the guild. Yuan Sung then thought, so that's why Kirio is hiding his true awakening method. He looked down at the still composed face and found it. Below were the one-eyed monsters, he marveled, just like on the internet. Yuan Sung also looked down in surprise and exclaimed, "So they are Flamespitter." Then suspiciously asked again, "What kind of name is Flamespitter?" He explained that there was a translation error with the analyzer in Korea back then. That monster was first discovered in Oyo because the falling object was surrounded by fire, so it was named the Firefall in Pixie. But due to a translation error, it became Flamespitter. Jiok was surprised by Yuan Sung's backstory. "I see, you really know a lot." The two of them silently looked down together. They start to fly around, blazing with fiery red flames. The two of them stand in the middle, surrounded by Flamespitter, forming a circle. You quickly put your hand in your pocket and look on curiously. Yuan Sung asks, "Hey, I've always wondered what's inside that pocket." He gazed into the distance with a distant look and replied, "Oh, that." The monsters roared loudly and then charged down quickly. You threw the brown powder at the Flamespitter and it landed on their wings. Flamespitter's whole body burst into flames, crying out in pain. Because he wasn't prepared, he got covered in that black powder, and they all caught fire. Flamespitter growled in annoyance and flew away chaotically. You calmly said, "It's the item to use in this emergency." Zyop looked in their direction, impressed. Then he paused and asked, "Sorry to ask this while we're hunting, but as he threw the powder, he replied, 'It's okay, I'm listening, so go ahead.'" Yuan Song wondered why you keep using items. You could easily catch a level truck monster with that handle. Zyop felt utterly helpless, reading his hunter's card with "Did A." He's really foolish. Maybe he doesn't know how low-level awakened beings fight since he's a hunter at the bottom of the hierarchy, so there's no need to reveal his weaknesses. Then Zyop asked, Yuan Song, have you ever thought about this awakening? The ability to move a 1-ton truck and flood an entire area with water, sure, these powers are convenient, but we didn't get them through effort. Zyop looked down at the brown powder bag in his hand, just by chance. It comes easily, so it also goes easily. I find this ability very inconvenient, so I don't rely on my awakening ability. Although he talks like that on the surface, inside Zyop is still afraid. It sounds ridiculous, but he probably just believes it, right? Yuan Song is speechless with amazement. Tears stream down his face. He says, you're right, so why didn't I think of that? The things we easily gain can also disappear just as easily. Why do I think this ability will last forever? You admire his reasoning skills, it sounds convincing. Moreover, considering the trend of portals, the mutations are increasing. Maybe they are preparing a future for us. While I only know how to take the easy path without training, Zyop truly has such foresight. Yuan Song carefully masks his changing expression. Wait, could it be? He said that high-level awakeners can sense everything through intuition, standing next to a very famous S-rank hunter. But with Zyop, I don't feel anything, as if he's just a bug. You're frozen, looking helpless, huh? He really called the demon Alpha All Zai, huh? Yuan Song's eyes light up. If you're training to control your power, can you also control mana? I've never seen anyone capable of fully mastering it. Zyop closed his eyes tightly, enduring it. He's just a primitive person, so his awakening level is probably related to mana density. Well, that's enough for now, just roughly. After leaving that place, he kept muttering, hey, if you go into the dungeon again, can you call me? Zyop wondered. Why do you still ask after you've already paid your debt? Yuan Song replied, actually going with my brothers opened up many opportunities for me. Because of that incident, my team disbanded, and I only awakened less than half a year ago. It will be very dangerous to operate alone because I lack experience, but if we form a team, you know how it is. Zyop fell into thought. Maybe he's still hurt from the teammates who stabbed him in the back. After a moment of thought, he agreed. If it were me, I'd do the same. Zyop said, if you want to help, I have no reason to refuse, but if danger comes, I probably wouldn't be able to save you. You must always protect yourself. I am not capable of protecting you. If we fight, I will definitely lose because I am very weak. Yuan Song's eyes lit up as she silently admired how humble Kairio was. I think you would get hurt if you lowered your guard. By the way, how old are you? Zyop asked curiously. You want to know my age? He replied with admiration. Yes. Yuan Song also said, I am currently 22 years old, but I have had a second chance, so I graduated from a good class. He briefly turned his head to recall, waiting for the answer. How old did Kim Zyop say he was? Yuan Song suddenly remembered, oh right, I forgot, let me change my phone number. Zyop quickly took out his ID card in front of him, looked at it, and was surprised 24 years old. Yuan Song opened his mouth in shock, only 2 years apart. He glanced away. So I'm 24 years old. Yuan Song hurriedly corrects himself. I didn't mean that. I just appear calm and mature on the outside. Zyop looks at the college students walking by. I have no memories of university. Looking at his phone, Zyop feels sad, with no contacts saved. What kind of life has he lived? Zyop's figure stands alone, feeling truly lonely and isolated. His face is obscured as memories fade away into the cold, bleak atmosphere. The next news report states that the phenomenon of sudden portal mutations is increasing across countries, and the Hunter Association has yet to find the cause. Even senior investigators have yet to determine the cause of this phenomenon, and the public's unease continues to grow. She twirls her hair nervously, her face calm but her eyes cold and sharp. Yesterday you received a call from Yuan Song. Do you want to go see something interesting tomorrow? I now have priority to access the new portal. Zyop coldly replied, fine. How can I resist someone suggesting I see something exciting, so eager? In Korea, when a new gate appears, access is restricted, and an investigation team is sent in. And once the guild's investigation is complete, the gate is closed. Today is the day the gate opens. There are rumors that this new gate contains a strange creature. Zyop thinks that this creature might be the key to restoring his magic. Just check if that tree has an entrance, and then leave. Looking at the crowd below, Zyop said there are too many people here. All of them will go inside. A passerby recognizes him, Yuan Song. He quickly responds that most are just spectators and reporters, but it seems busier than I expected. A supercar sped down the street like a gust of wind. drawing Zeop's attention as he curiously looked over. The supercar sped past you in an instant and shot straight ahead. The car stopped and the door swung open. A person with purple hair steps out of the car. Everyone around looks on curiously. The crowd starts whispering, "Kang Chang Ho. Why is Kang Chang Ho here?" Zeop looked surprised and turned to ask Yuan Song who that was, his face pale. "It's an S-rank hunter, Kang Chang Ho." He silently admired that his mana was very stable, definitely a rare talent from Earth. He paused, sensing someone watching him. Chang Ho turned to face him, the atmosphere tense. Zeop's face was emotionless. "Aren't his eyes quite remarkable?" Yuan Song whispers with his hand over his mouth. "I heard that's a dragon eye, clearly a rare item." Teacher Chang Ho approached, and Yuan Song was momentarily startled, thinking he had already left but was now coming back this way. Chang Ho stepped closer and asked, "What's your name?" Zeop replied irritably, "Sorry." He repeats the question from earlier, "What is his name?" "Kim Zeop." Chang Ho still speaks in that commanding tone, with hunter authority. Yuan Sung standing protectively in front of you, greeting the hunter Kang Chang Ho, who is just helping me carry things, if there's any problem. He exudes a threatening aura. "I won't talk to you." Yuan Sung reluctantly hid behind Zeop, scoffing as he replied, "Level of a close combat expert." Zeop's face remained calm, but his expression showed some worry as he sensed the hidden mana within Kim Kiryua's body. Mana is simply an energy-producing organ. Just because the respiratory system is refined doesn't mean the total mana in the body decreases. A mage of Kang Chang Ho's caliber can assess a person's potential even with the faintest signal. Zeop also said calmly, "If you don't believe me, I can show you my hunter's badge." He smiled faintly, someone who can look directly into the eyes of a lightning-level hunter, and replied, "I am a forced-level hunter." Chang Ho's voice slurs. "If Hunter Kim Zeop can..." Yuan Sung immediately interrupts. "Zeop, it's time. We're just here to take a quick look." "Shouldn't we go now? If we don't leave, it'll be ruined." You immediately object. But today's plan is to explore this place, so he's quickly urging A to move faster. Zeop turns back and looks behind with a puzzled expression. He was left behind, standing lost in the crowd. He wondered if Mr. A really didn't know about Hunter Kang Chang Ho, or if he was abroad, as your eyes avoided the question. "I've been outside for a while." Yuan Sung immediately complained. "I don't want to gossip, but that hunter's reputation isn't very good," Zeop suspected. "What's wrong?" he explained. "He has a criminal record for assault, and even ignoring the past, his recent actions haven't been much better." Zeop asked curiously what was wrong. Yuan Sung replied that he had a cousin named Choi Jin, rank a level 3. The girl entered through the same gate as Kang Chang Ho and was attacked by him. But I heard he only fights with those who have strong awakening powers. Zeop muttered in disapproval, "So you dragged me along, worried that the S-rank crazy guy would bother me. What a tiny, clever mammal." After a moment of nonsense, Zeop suggested, "Let's go back now. We'll check out that hidden plant species later." And you, little brother, fell into a thoughtful silence. Zeop lowered his voice but said, "So Yuan Sung, earlier you said Chang Ho's eyes are something like dragon eyes, right? So that means it's something that can be bought and sold like your treasure." He nodded. "The first time he had that thing, it was in the form of a small fruit." "Is there something like a dragon's lung?" Yuan Sung quickly replied. "Let me check." "Lunges aren't very common, so they might appear last." Zeop asked curiously, "Why aren't they common?" He browsed his phone for information. "They don't boost mana like eyes or hearts, but at least they can be processed into medicine, yet lungs are useless." Gyogyogyu Ro E2 Seeks then suddenly realized something was wrong. He said, "What, 6 billion? Yuan Sung was still excited. "So creepy. No matter how much you pay, you can't buy the other parts." Tears streamed down Zeop's face. I shouldn't have listened after all. The taxi moved along the quiet road, its wheels rolling steadily in the silent space. Zeop scrolls through Kang Chang Ho's information on his phone, staring intently and contemplating. The more he learns about him, the more terrifying he seems. Letting someone like that roam freely out there is truly madness. Should I avoid his gaze from now on if he wants to fight me, then my life is over. Behind the taxi Zeop is sitting in, a familiar supercar is chasing after him. Suddenly, it tried to ram the back of the taxi forcefully, causing the car to shake and startling you, leaving you confused about what just happened. The driver skillfully swerved in a zigzag pattern to dodge, but the supercar still chased after them. The taxi collided forcefully with a nearby utility pole. Zeop had fallen out of his seat some time ago. The driver hurriedly turned around and asked if everything was okay. "You look pale, your whole body still on the seat. but you politely answer yes. The driver steps out and scolds the supercar. That bastard, is he crazy? Doesn't know how to drive properly? Come out quickly. He stepped down from the car and spoke softly. I truly apologize. I haven't driven in a while, so I confused the gas pedal with the brake. Zyop leaned on the taxi, surprised, and sighed. He urgently holds out his phone and says, "Hello, Mr. Kim Zyop the Hunter. I need a favor. Could you give me your contact information?" Your face remains emotionless. Is he crazy? How could he be driving now and hit someone on an empty road? And the driver, nervously clearing his throat, said, breathing heavily in the car, "Because you caused an accident, you have to pay for the repairs." He immediately handed the money to the driver. "Here, take it." Zyop stared intently at the money and then looked away. "How much is this?" The driver bowed slightly in gratitude and said, "Thank you. He handed the phone to you, but please save my contact information. I just ran out of cash, so I'll have to pay for your medical expenses gradually." Zyop fell into thought, not quite understanding what he meant. This is just a way to settle the accident and get the pass. It's only a phone number. What's there to worry about? After a moment, Zyop also gave him his contact info. Here it is, and looked intently at the phone. He is the only son of a famous company owner but has a criminal record for serious assault. However, with his wealth, he could hire a good lawyer for defense. But his parents died years ago when the monster escaped from the dungeon. And after the incident, he sold all the inherited shares from the company, effectively liquidating his family's business. Everyone used his unclear awakening time as an excuse. Rumors of him assaulting someone for money have started to surface. You glance at Chango, but nothing has been proven yet. He turns to you and says, "Are you also going to take care of those chickens today?" I'm a bit surprised that someone like you is doing manual labor. Chango leans against the car. I know some jobs pay better. He smiles with a sly look. Do you want to hear about them? After hearing that, Zyok silently thought that the job paid well, then coldly replied that it was no problem to listen. Chango, hearing that, continued to suggest, "Stop working for Yuan Song and work for me instead. I will give you 80% of the items and the profit you make from the job." Hearing that, Zyok hesitated, wondering if he was being spied on with such unreasonable terms. This S-rank hunter must have recognized the potential within Kim Kiryu's body. Kim Kiryu's magic is on par with or even higher than S-rank. If I can exploit it, I could control this entire planet. Crossing my arms, I say, I'm in a situation where I can't enter the S-rank gate, so I'm not sure if I can work with this. Chango was stunned and asked, "What do you mean S-rank? Why are they pushing a hunter like you into the high-tier gate?" Zyok wondered and looked at him. "You approached me after checking your awakening potential." Chango looked surprised and responded, "Awakening potential? What, you're an S-rank, right? My proposal is to train you directly. In other words, I suggest becoming your sponsor." Zyok awkwardly rubbed his neck. "Oh, I see. I was mistaken and spoke strangely. I blushed deeply. So embarrassed, Chango gently smiles at you. Can I take that as a yes?" Zyok raised his hand to stop him and said, "Wait a moment. What exactly did you see in me that made you suggest that?" He didn't say anything, but just smiled awkwardly. Chango looks at you with admiration. Zyok silently thinks, disappointed. Damn it, Song, I really miss you right now. The more Chango looked at him, the calmer Zyok recounted to Yuan Song that he said he had a meeting and left immediately. But thinking back, it felt like that bastard deliberately caused the accident. He immediately replied, "It's true that he only chooses strong hunters. I guess I avoided death thanks to you. Kiryu, even someone at my level A can become a target." Zyok puts a candy in his mouth. "Is that it?" Yul said with shining eyes, "If I have a hunter like you, I won't stand out anymore. If Trang keeps doing this, he will get hurt." Zyok is lost in thought, wondering what to do. Call the police, but what should I say, imagining the dialogue. An S-rank hunter said he would protect me and give me that item. Zyok helplessly shook his head. Forget it. Yeah, they wouldn't care about this anyway. Bong Yuan Sung said, "Oh right, Mr. Kiryu. Did you watch TV this morning? Last year, South Korea ranked second in gate management excellence. Although the abnormal mutations are still very serious, civilian casualties have decreased significantly, and reports say humans will soon master the disaster called the gate." Zyok sighed in admiration. This guy has a talent for choosing such a topic. I'm quite interested in the gates, too. It feels like a miniature version of my own experiences. One day in 2017, a mysterious phenomenon appeared simultaneously worldwide. Gates, monsters, and false awakenings. The essence of magic is to use mana drawn from the planet. But unlike Anfari, Earth has a terrain full of rocks. It's difficult to increase the amount of mana drawn, but the portal phenomenon that appeared 7 years ago acts as a sort of mana drain. Thanks to that, some people who came into contact with mana became pseudo-awakeners. However, knowledge about the gates is still very limited. Earth creatures do not dig deep to extract mana, and inside are terrifying beings surrounding them, but these creatures are extremely hostile to humans, not related to Anfree or Earth technology. So what exactly are they? I'm not quite sure. Yuan Song tried to call out to Zyok. Hey, are you feeling unwell? You seem to suddenly come to your senses. Sorry, I was a bit distracted. Hearing that, he kept asking curiously, what are you thinking? Zyok replied, I am imagining what it would be like if the portal creator was here. I think the current situation in Korea is not quite right. He wondered why that was, and calmly explained that no matter what the goal is, the monster in the portal also wants to kill us, and the items inside are just like cheese in a mousetrap. But if the little mouse finds a way to only eat the cheese, wouldn't they be very angry? Yuan Song pondered and then replied, You're right. I just realized it too. Suddenly, Zyok stopped. What's that? Energy boiling like lava beneath his feet? He calmly looked down. Yuan Song looked confused and asked, Is something wrong? Zyok suddenly realized something. Damn it, it's mana! He shouted in panic, attacking Yuan Song. Yuan Song also became frantic. What is happening here? Then a huge surge of mana erupted. Yuan Song panicked. Hey, Zyok keeps getting caught in the mana waves non-stop. Damn it, Gwum must have been dragged in too. Not long after, Zyok slowly opened his eyes, his pupils alert. He looked around in surprise, saying he's standing in a deserted corridor. He quietly surveys the terrain, wondering where this is, inside the gate or not. Nothing could be worse than encountering a monster in a dead end like this. I have to move. With a body that can't use magic, a simple question is how I managed to get through this. Suddenly, a Buddha figure caught Zyok's attention. You curiously approach the strange stone statue and ask, Where is this? A stone tablet with something written on it. A shadow of movement made him glance over at Tom Geo. Zyok immediately stood up, seeing a figure approaching him. Another person approached him from the opposite direction, and Chango looked at him in surprise and confusion. Kim Kireo. Zyok was just as surprised. Chango then glanced at the person opposite him, wondering who they were. The three of them stood in a triangle in front of the statue, Zyok feeling confused. What's going on here? Chango smiled and greeted the newcomer. Oh, Yang Song. I heard you're in Singapore, and he casually replied, I just got back today. Zyok watched in confusion. They usually aren't this close. You stammered and asked, do you know each other? Chango asked, back in surprise. Kim, Ki, Ryo. I have to ask you, do you not know Yang Song? Zyok thought with disappointment. I've only been on Earth for 2 weeks, how could I know? Han saw your expression and turned to mock Yang Song, saying, See, he doesn't recognize you. So work harder, Zyok thought to himself, confused. At first I didn't even know who you were. Idiot. Actually, who is he? Chango then introduced him again. This is Yang Song, Korea's #1 hunter. Hearing that, you were stunned. Damn, he's even more impressive than I thought. Han said that people know him as a national hero. Yang Song, this is Kim Kireo, an elite hunter. Zyok shyly said, hello, and Yang Song responded immediately, yes. Nice to meet you, Kim Kireo. You're staring at me so intently. What's going on? Yang starts pressing the watch on his wrist to ask for directions, wondering why both of them were suddenly brought here. Zyok stares intently at the watch on his wrist, which is an analysis device A, and he didn't expect such a sleek design to exist. Yang Song exclaimed, now it's definitely inside the gate. The analysis screen appeared. Gate undefined, no gate information. What is the rank X, huh? This is a lie. Zyok is curious inside, what could the rank X be? Your phone screen is completely black. You look confused. What is this? Chango angrily snatched his phone. I entered without preparation. If we don't get out quickly, it'll be a real problem. Yang Song looked at the stone and spoke, noticing something pressed on it. The symbol of true faith will become the key, a necessary hint for Gate A. The only apparent way forward is to go through that gate. He tries to touch the gate with his hand, then uses both hands to push it with all his might. Chango calmly observes. It doesn't move, Yang Song suggests to Han. Breath in, Chango, help me out a bit. Han looked confused and asked, me? He was sweating and glanced at Chango. I can't open it with just my strength. Seeing that, Han sighed. There's no other way. Then Han stepped forward to help Yang Song, glancing at Chango to signal. Han also looked back at the two of them, locking eyes with them. Yang Song quickly channeled his power into the door. Then both of them worked together to open the door. Chango stared intently at the door in front of him. At that moment, Han decisively threw a mana strike at the door, while Zyok watched them intently without blinking. Among those who come into contact with mana, Z-grade groundworkers are the most exceptional. They are an extremely rare group with extraordinary talents and abilities, but these two people really can't open a door. Chango paused to observe and then commented, "It seems so, you can't open it with force." Ziok calmly turned away and spoke, "So it looks like there's nothing left to try but this." Han also paused for a moment after hearing that, and then approached the statue. He looked at the lion statue with suspicion, but, "Isn't its mouth like a hole big enough to fit an arm in?" Hearing Chango say that, Zhang Hasong remained silent. Ziok's face also grew serious. "It's impossible, but if they don't open the door, they'll be trapped here. Coming this far unprepared, if they keep like this, they'll run out of supplies." He looked surprised as Zhang Hasong approached the statue and silently put his hand into the stone lion's mouth. The other two looked through the gate quietly. A loud shout rang out as the gate moved, opening. Ziok turned back to look at Zhang Hasong. "Zhang Hasong, is something wrong?" Blood suddenly appeared on his arm. Zhang Hasong calmly raised his hand and said, "I'm out of blood." Ziok was startled and exclaimed, "What did you just say?" He spoke softly. "I was so shocked I tried to pull my arm out, but no matter how hard I tried, it wouldn't move. At that moment, I thought about cutting off my shoulder." Chango quickly interrupted, "Really, since the door is open, let's go in." Ziok glanced behind, secretly feeling uneasy about this, wondering if it's really safe, and the three of them entered through the door together. Chango suddenly stopped in frustration, again. He quickly looked to the side, at another lion statue. Zhang Hasong quickly moved forward without hesitation, putting his hand into the lion's mouth to escape quickly. Zhang Hasong, calmly turning around and raising his voice, "Let's go." After a while, everyone stopped again. Chango slowly crouched in front of the statue. "Really?" Ziok silently thought, putting his hand into the lion's mouth and the door would open. "It really is just that simple." Zhang Hasong suddenly spoke up. "Hunter Chango, you open the next door," he said loudly in surprise. Why me?" he calmly explained. "The blood absorption rate has changed. The first one isn't a problem, but the second one makes me a bit dizzy. In these kinds of dungeons, the difficulty keeps increasing, so we should take turns." Changho's tone hesitates a bit. You've been doing very well so far," he continues. "Why don't you just do it for Song as well?" Zhang Ha-song's face suddenly changed. "Are you refusing to cooperate?" Changho smiled and replied, "Don't you know my hunter level?" He interrupted again. "I don't care, I'll say it once more. Hunter Chango, cooperate." He hesitated for a moment and continued, "What if I refuse?" Ziok frowned, raising his arm. "Are these guys about to fight?" "Hey," Song Ha-song said loudly, "if we keep opening this gate and it's my turn, in the end I'll be drained dry, right?" Changho responded, "At least I should have the right to choose when it's my turn so no one feels deceived, don't you think?" It seems Changho still has no intention of backing down. "Besides, isn't there another hunter over there? Why don't you ask him?" Instead, Ziok was startled and panicked upon hearing this, secretly calculating that now he was being mentioned again. The survival rate of the side gate is about 60%. This place might not have monsters, but that doesn't mean it's safe. A maze that allows you to keep moving forward by sacrificing blood, with a blood-sucking hole just like an arm. In other words, the solution to this dungeon is to sacrifice one person. Ziok's face darkened. "Hey." Zhang Ha-song looked back and said, "You're seriously suggesting an F grade to handle this when there are 2 S grade hunters here, really?" Suddenly he stopped, and when he heard the noise, all 3 of them were drawn to it. A monster was gradually approaching them. In front of him is a growling wolf with sharp claws approaching. Ziok stammers in fear, "What is this supposed to be? Isn't there nothing strange here?" The wolf snarled and clenched its huge jaws, charging wildly straight at Ziok without hesitation. He startled and stepped back, raising his arm above his head. Zhang Ha-song also quickly summoned a stream of mana to strike the big wolf. In an instant, he swiftly eliminated it with terrifying strength, and the light of Zhang Ha-song's power illuminated a vast space. Ziok's eyes widened in amazement, unable to believe it, as he floated backward in the air, using some kind of primitive mage's magic. If that's the case, then his ability must be... Kang Chang-ho sighed softly and muttered, still exhausted after being drained of blood. Suddenly Ziok was startled and looked behind Chang-ho. Another large wolf was also rushing straight at him. Ziok's eyes widened in panic as he witnessed the scene, suddenly shouting out in fear, "Kang Chang-ho, behind you!" Han quickly glanced behind him, and the terrifying image of the large wolf immediately appeared in Chang-ho's eyes. Han immediately kills the monster without hesitation. Ziok is stunned, going berserk. Kang Chang-ho's awakening skill is enhanced physicality. Chango clenches his fists tightly, his body weaker than I thought, probably a high level. He shouts to relax early. Look over there. The other wolves appeared one after another through the wall, their sharp claws emerging before them. A pack of wolves then charged at the three of them, their sharp teeth baring as they lunged forward fiercely, without hesitation or pause. The large wolves land on the ground, ready for battle. All three of them are surrounded with no gaps left. They watch their movements without taking their eyes off them. Song sighs at the wolves. They're not too high-level monsters, but this many is really troublesome. Take care of what's behind you, Chango. Chango sneered and replied, You just focus on your own thing. The monster horde charges straight at them. Song is also ready for battle. He stared intently and prepared to attack them. Chango quickly raised his hand, ready to face the big wolves. Song kept fighting relentlessly, and the wolf pack, seemingly out of control, became even more ferocious. Changho's eyes turn dangerous as he glances at them. He immediately launches a powerful mana attack. Changho's attack significantly reduced the number of wolves. Seeing his comrades being slaughtered, the wolves became even more berserk. Song calmly faces them without flinching, continuing to strike with mana and eliminate the monsters one after another. Zioke is still in shock at the brutality of this battle, silently marveling. Seeing their strength, damn, 2 S-rank levels, and they're already this powerful. Song fought monsters while quietly saying to himself, they are more numerous than I thought. His vitality drops to a critical level due to blood loss, and suddenly he looks behind him. At this point, I won't be able to catch it. Song stared directly at the stone lion with its mouth open to the point of obsession. Suddenly he staggered as if realizing something. Song muttered to himself, seeing a monster attacking him from behind. He quickly spread his feet to attack. Song delivered a powerful mana strike to the big wolf, causing it to be instantly annihilated. He seemed to realize something after that attack. Is that it? Zioke looked a bit surprised. That's terrifying. So an S-rank hunter can do this. They killed all the monsters in the blink of an eye. Even if I acquire magic, conquering the entire earth would still be difficult. Suddenly Song's warning voice rang out, and Chango, Kim Ki-woon, and everyone looked ahead. There, Song's deep voice echoed as the lion statue's eyes began to glow. This gate seems to activate that wave of monsters if you pour blood into it for a certain period, and a large, sluggish wolf appears through the wall. Zioke was startled and panicked when he saw it. Song was still lost in thought. So that means Zioke's scream was right next to him, or Song, and Song suddenly snapped out of his trance and looked behind him. He immediately launched a mana attack at the monster, and Song's sword successfully cut into its throat. He looked at the monster as it slowly collapsed while discussing. So now, Chango suddenly spoke up. There is a time limit after this. A pack of large wolves suddenly charged straight at them, and Zeok stood frozen in front of the relentless wave of attack. Song shouted a warning, Kim Kiryo. Chango stared steadily at the distant stone lion statue. He darted toward it like lightning without hesitation. Song fiercely fought off the monsters, while Chango clenched his teeth and put his hand into the stone lion's mouth. The eyes of the stone lion immediately turned red as he reached his arm into it. Chango stared intently at the stone lion statue. The monsters around them also disappeared in an instant. The gate in front of the three of them gradually opened. Zioke exclaimed in surprise, unable to believe he cooperated so quickly. Chango turned to ask the other two, Who is next? Song quickly responded, Please don't bother each other. We can't be sure one person can handle it. Zioke silently wondered why he was called a national hero. When he found out I was a level-appropriate person, he removed me from the list and protected me when monsters appeared. Thanks to him, I didn't shed a single drop of blood, but I still feel a bit guilty. The three of them continued their journey, with Song walking and panting heavily. He was sweating heavily, almost out of strength. Zioke looked to the side and asked, Song, are you okay? He tiredly replied, It's okay. These gates are usually small, so the exit can't be far away. Zioke looked on intently, thinking to himself, his face growing paler by the minute. Luckily, Chango opened the gate, but Chango didn't bother to look back and said, Song, wait a moment. Song looked puzzled and asked again. What's wrong? Han immediately questioned. I realize that there's no guarantee the exit is behind this gate. Furthermore, everyone is starting to feel tense. Maybe we missed a clue somewhere, let's go back and check the rooms first, Song angrily retorted. You're just trying to buy some time, right? When you attacked a level X door earlier, the standard procedure is to verify all conditions, and you know that very well. Or are you planning to attack me during the chaos when the monsters are attacking, like what happened to Chojin? I won't drag this out. Open the door. Chango smiled reassuringly. All right, I will open. Don't be so tense. I've never said I wouldn't help with the strategy. And you also misunderstood. What happened to Chojin was that accident. I am not a crazy person attacking my colleagues without reason. Because I have a criminal record, I understand why you don't trust me. But Rongha Song, right now you're too suspicious of me. That's why you keep making quick decisions, because you want to get out as soon as possible, right? I'll open the gate, but please seriously consider what I'm saying. Even if it's your turn, I still suggest we go back and check first. Zai OK silently thought, he makes more sense than I thought. So those rumors are just rumors after all. Rongha Song looked to the side and asked, "Are you okay, Kang Chang Ho?" Han calmly smiled and replied, "Don't worry about me. I brought my healing potion, so I might be able to open the gate a few more times after drinking it." He continued speaking, "Push a little further. If we can't find an exit in the next room, we'll look for another way." ZOK glanced down. "If this keeps up, I'll need to ask Kang Chang Ho for help." Suddenly, you froze in place, and seeing Han's actions, Chang Ho quickly took the large bottle and smashed it directly into Rongha Song's back of the head. Rongha Song, seemingly unaware of Chang Ho's intentions, couldn't react in time and collapsed to the ground. It seems ZOK still doesn't understand the current situation. Chang Ho naturally responded, "So even with an S-rank person, it works." ZOK thought blankly. "Healing water recovery, huh? This idiot really believes it." You quickly spoke up, Kang Chang Ho, "What are you doing?" He slowly turned his head. Kim Karil. "Have you ever heard of a gate called the Maiden of Probability in Northern Europe? It's almost exactly like this dungeon, where to escape, one of the hunters must be sacrificed." ZOK asked, "So he intends to sacrifice Rongha Song?" Chang Ho continued. "Moreover, based on the current stats of S-rank dungeons, the survival rate is only 60% regardless of the hunter's level. The percentage isn't high, so risking our lives isn't really worth it. I just want to make sure we have a chance." ZOK fell into deep thought, and logically, it makes perfect sense. If this dungeon really requires a human sacrifice, it should be a goat, preferably Kang Chang Ho or Rong, but I'm not in a position to be chosen, so I guess I'll just follow the plan of the S-rank hunter. But it doesn't make sense for an S-rank hunter to suffer when there are two other S-rank hunters here. So I suddenly spoke up when Chang Ho was about to put Rongha Song's hand into the stone lion's mouth, waiting for the stone. "I'll open the door, so put Rongha Song down." Chang Ho sneered and glanced. "So you're suddenly awake now, huh? You should have stayed still when others were sleeping. I guarantee you'll survive." ZOK is a bit scared, feeling like there's no way to negotiate anymore. "How can we save Rongha Song now?" Chang Ho continued, considering the blood-sucking ability of the lion statue. "This challenge will end soon." A moment later, the door slowly opened before them with blinding light, and the three of them hesitantly moved toward the door. They saw a goddess statue placed in the center of the room. Chang Ho doubted and spoke. "The escape route." ZOK also widened his eyes in amazement. "Is it really over? Is that all there is to it?" Chang Ho still couldn't believe the truth. He exclaimed in shock. "No, but the Iron Maiden has appeared here. This hell is over." The stone goddess statue with a glowing object in her hand becomes even more dazzling. Chang Ho sneered. "I must be losing my mind. We definitely need a living tree for sacrifice. That's why I chose Rongha Song. If he wakes up and complains, then I'll be in trouble." ZOK calmly responded to him. "There is a reward inside the fountain." He lowered the gold ring on the goddess statue's hand. You stare at it in wonder. This is a magic tool. ZOK turns around. When Rongha Song wakes up, he might also want to use this to apologize. Chang Ho started to speak, provoking, "The best hunter is not something to be taken lightly. The guild won't overlook this. If we sacrifice him right away, wouldn't that be easier? But since we're still inside the gate, do you think I should kill him right now?" ZOK was stunned and exclaimed, "What?" Chang Ho casually continued, "The corpse will disappear when the gate closes. The only remaining issue is the witnesses. You have no reason to keep secret that I killed Rongha Song, do you? You were startled. So are you planning to kill me too?" His tone was a bit mocking. "Come on, don't say that. Why would I have to kill you? I just want to borrow a little from you." Chang Ho quickly placed his hand on ZOK's shoulder and suggested with a sinister look, "You can admit that you defeated Rongha Song, right?" Chang Ho silently thought that thanks to a rare item obtained from an A-level monster, the green dragon, called the Dragon Eye, which has a mysterious green color, the Dragon Eye has many functions. When equipped, its effects are immediately activated, providing clear vision to identify distant objects and enhancing magic. The green mana aura within each person's body then appears vividly. But everything didn't end there, not even the ability to assess others' awakening levels with the naked eye. He continued to ponder. With those eyes, he would never have to squint to see more clearly, at least until then. But Chang Ho's face showed a puzzled expression. "I must have mistaken her." He stared intently at the green mana around Zyok, which was a strange kind of magic never seen before, with not much magical energy overall. But maybe this person possesses that skill, the skill that hunters around the world are all eager for. Then he proactively came up to me and asked, "What's your name?" To which Zyok calmly replied, "Kim Zyok." Chango continued to speak, but still honestly told him about the level of coercion. And hearing that, Changho's expression grew even more complicated, as if he was lying. Do I really look into my eyes like this with a level of coercion? For ordinary low-level awakening imposters, high-level imposters look like giant monsters. It's been a while since Kang and Changho went to a convenience store. Kim Zyok, the level press hunter, is no ordinary guy. Kang Changho, to satisfy his small curiosity, tried to provoke Kim Zyok a little, even after a sudden traffic accident or receiving a luxurious offer worth hundreds of millions. The only thing Changho got back after those times was that Kim Zyok remained indifferent to everything. He's so different from what Kang Changho thought. Is he really ignoring a low-level hunter like me? Kang Changho, you have always been the center of attention. In reality, you secretly like Kim Zyok's difference. So it definitely wasn't him, because Kim Zyok's recent attitude has been bothering him. Can you testify that you defeated Jung Ha-seong? Even if Jung Ha-seong remembers this plan, it will be hard to prove. The statements of the intruders will be prioritized over his. I held him tighter and emphasized each word. You only need to say one thing. Zyok's eyes shifted from suspicion to Han's hand. There was a conflict during the raid and you need to calm Jung Ha-seong down. Zyok suddenly spoke up. What if I refuse? Changho chuckled and pulled his hand back. Then I can't be dragged down alone either, right? Actually, can I handle Jung Ha-seong myself? Kim Zyok, I'm curious about the ability you're hiding. If you are truly hiding something, you will react to this unreasonable threat. But the decision you make surprises him, Zyok immediately responds, fine. So I just need to spread the word that I was the one who beat Jung Ha-seong up. Changho replied in surprise, Huh, is it that simple? Han suddenly falls silent, with no sign of fear on his face, meaning he does not agree out of fear. Suddenly, he widens his eyes in realization. Could it be to avoid and confront? Thinking about it, he recently said he can't enter the S-level gate, which means he could enter before. So Kim Zyok really is a high-level fake awakener. If he tries to lower his true demon level to that of a mere bug, Han feels suffocated as if his mouth is sealed and he's wearing tight clothes, making it impossible for me to even guess what kind of fake awakener he is. But is it really necessary to lower my awakening level all the way down to F? I want to investigate a bit more, but fine, I'll think it through carefully. Now let's get out of this damn pink hell for now. After he leaves, Geo quietly mutters to himself, damn it. Then it happily went with Changho towards the exit. We're out, lucky us. They quickly returned to that beautiful blue sky. We're outside now. A multitude of reporters swarmed in, and finally the hunters emerged from the third exit. Zyop was confused, wondering why there were so many people here. The reporters rushed in like a storm, cameras flashing, congratulating you on surviving. Can you tell us what kind of gate that was? What level is the monster? Are there no survivors left? Suddenly, a reporter rushed towards Zyop, asking how many hunters he had recruited. That question startled him a little. About the gate, Zyop looked around carefully. No, all the exits are gathered here. However, the reporters immediately acted because of what happened next. Changho and Jung Ha-seong suddenly appeared, both S-rank hunters. Sionil's tone grew more and more surprised, but as expected, questions arose. Why did Jung Ha-seong faint? Yunong quickly approached. Hunter Kong Chang-ho, we need to ask you something. He looked over and asked, You're from the A-Guild? Yunong nodded. Yes, she continued. I have many questions, but it seems only one needs priority. Why is Hunter Jung Ha-seong unconscious? He averted his gaze and avoided the question. Is that so? Yunong wondered. Don't tell me he was hit by his curse. Changho immediately denied it. No, there was some hesitation in choosing the sacrifice. Changho said in a low voice, so that guy knocked out Jung Ha-seong. Gok thought to himself, lying right after coming out of the dungeon. Yunong was stunned and exclaimed, What did you say? Say it more clearly. How could the #1 representative of the nation be defeated by a hunter I've never seen before? Gok continued to think. At least the association's staff know how to think. Yunong raised his voice and said, Stop lying to us. Kang Chang-ho, just tell the truth. Isn't it you who did this to Jung Ha-seong? Chang-ho slowly smirked and looked away. Instead of just standing there listening, why don't you say anything at all? Gok sighed heavily, realizing there was no other choice, and then he began to speak. Dad, you see, I was the one who took down Hunter Jung Ha-seong. Yunong seemed unable to believe what he had just heard, and everyone listening to the reporters heard every word clearly. Chango said nothing more, only revealing his smugness. Jioka quickly added, "But I don't mean to hurt him. I just made him sleep a little, so the attack would go more smoothly. I will apologize to Zhang Haxiang myself when he wakes up." Yunong was confused and couldn't believe it. If it wasn't for the cold hunting breath, then Chango suddenly interrupted, "I told you it wasn't me." Suddenly, his words were cut off by a pain. Yunong immediately shouted in panic. Kang Changho's breathing became rapid. "Don't you see? I feel like I can do something to Zhang Haxiang." Gok silently observed. Kang Changho also lost a lot of blood inside. "I thought it wasn't that serious, so he did it on purpose." The gloomy atmosphere was broken by Seon-il's voice. "Wait, then. Did the man really do that to Zhang Haxiang? You breathe heavily. He really made Zhang Haxiang faint. You have defeated an S-star level hunter." Countless mixers are placed in front of the young man, waiting for his response. Jiok's lips curl slowly before he finally speaks. "I directly admit it without hesitation. Yes, I did it. The rumors on the newspaper pages have started spreading widely. It seems Zhang Haxiang couldn't believe his eyes when he read those confessions." Ilchang said softly, "Hey, I saw the article this morning before it was taken down." "Did you really defeat Zhang Haxiang?" Jiok asked again. "That?" He thought to himself, so he wanted to meet me today for that reason. Jiok casually said, "You could say that." Ilsung was very surprised. He gently asked him, but he was stuck at the side gate. "Are you hurt?" He cheerfully replied, "Of course, thanks to you pushing me aside." I didn't even get to finish my sentence before Jiok's phone rang loudly, and he said, "Wait a moment, I have a call." Jiok spoke into the phone. "Hello." He briefly wondered who it was, and the other side asked if it was Kim Kairio, the hunter's number. "I am Zhang Haxiang." After the introduction, Jiok was extremely surprised and happy. "You reply yes. After the kiss, you can eat first." Jiok thought to herself, "I left my phone number with the association to apologize to the spirit. How should I apologize? Should I play the video of him bowing?" The person on the other end explained that they had some questions about what happened yesterday. In the room, the voice of the young man from this side sounded harsh. "At the gate, you're the one who knocked me out, huh?" Jiok suddenly pondered. There's something strange about this. The person on the other end continues, saying that I suddenly fainted that day, so I don't remember anything. I suspect it was Hunter Kang Chang-ho, but I'm not sure. Jiok suddenly realized, according to what he said. Zhang Ha-song remembered that I was hit on the back of the head, but the issue is what he saw when he turned around. Zhang Ha-song asked nervously, "Can you explain what happened back then?" He was worried and thinking, it's over. This rookie is wondering if he should just tell him that I was forced by Kang Chang-ho. But what basis does Zhang Ha-song have to believe it? Jiok realizes I found out during my investigation that the reason Zhang Ha-song is called a national hero is because of the number of gates he has destroyed. You think, in other words, he's a workaholic, so would someone like him care about protecting someone like me who was forced into this? Does he even think he can fight Kang Chang-ho? Jiok said softly. "Sorry, Zhang Ha-song. It was I who knocked you out." Zhang Ha-song was very surprised. I continued, "I was worried you were overworking yourself, so I did it. While you were unconscious, I was willing to sacrifice myself. I have something to offer you as an apology." "Is that a reward for clearing the dungeon?" he asked. "Are you joking with me?" Jiok replies, "What do you mean?" Zhang Ha-song says this is something we can talk about to resolve. "You think everything will go smoothly just with that little item? That's pathetic. You defeated me at the gate, so your plan was to sacrifice me to escape safely, right? Besides, Hunter Kang Chang-ho knows about you. From the beginning, you two were in cahoots, weren't you?" Jiok replied. "You misunderstood." Zhang Ha-song stands up looking weak and says, "And you? Are you really just a forced-level hunter?" You clutch your phone tightly with a very worried look. Jiok says, "There's something." He calmly replied, "That's enough. Talking more would just be a waste of time." Zhang Ha-song warns, "From now on, I will be watching you." You reply, "No." Jiok still insists. Zhang Ha-song, "Wait a moment." Zhang Ha-song sighed and said, "You took a bit long to call. Sorry about that." Misen replied, "It's okay. This is the information you need. A hot S-rank hunter, Zhang Ha-song, returning, unconscious." She continued, "The guild handled it immediately, so all the articles have been taken down. There are many comments and discussions. Knocked out by another hunter, a national hero. A top hunter like that is just a joke. Zhang Ha-song's skills are no laughing matter." Misan tries to stop him, saying he doesn't need to read all the comments. Zhang Ha-song calmly replies, "Even if the article is gone, the public already knows. Now the whole world will see that S-rank hunters are not invincible. They're worried," she says, "but I believe Kang Chang-ho is the one behind it all. I investigated that hunter, and he really is a level S hunter." He replied, "I used to think so too, but something's not right. If that hunter really is only S rank, Kang Chang-ho wouldn't have let him live. Why would Kang Chang-ho negotiate or force an S-rank hunter to take the blame? He doesn't need to do that, just kill him. Jong Ha-song thought, what's more important? Kim Ki-ryeo's eyes look like they're watching him fall. It seems those aren't human eyes, but a discarded gaze, cold and distant. Since awakening, no one has ever made me feel this uncomfortable. He muttered, as expected, his high-level ability is probably a fake. Contact the guild right now, Mizan Huangmang said. No way, Jong Ha-song replied. I will request a re-evaluation of Kim Ki-ryeo's awakening level. Skills are the superpowers of false awakenings, and everyone has at least one skill, but the magic of this planet is limited. Wizards can only use the types of magic they have. For example, Jong Ha-song, no matter how much he trains, cannot learn magic he doesn't possess. If they want to use a different type of magic, the only way is to pay a high price for the skill stones. But I am different. I am a reincarnated soul who knows all magic, so I can use any skill on this earth as long as I meet the conditions. Gung is proud. I am a genius. GOK knows well that I can't show this talent right now. I just attracted the attention of Z-ranked hunters and others, so I am still researching and have finally found a way to activate the enchanted artifact. My divine sight is exhausted, so my magic can't flow, but since I can still breathe, I can control a bit of magic inside. And I will use it to activate the enhancement magic tool. But how come the materials for this magic tool are here? I just thought the Korean magic tower, so they own that gate. A voice said. Hey, Lee Yi-yun stepped out and asked, didn't you come yesterday and come again today? You can only enter if you have an appointment. Don't block the door, Jiok replied. I have an appointment today. He smiled softly. An appointment, huh? His smile tightened. An appointment too, huh? You think even with pressure he's still a person. Lee Yi-un politely said, you just got dumped and now you have a date again. Don't lie, go on. Jiok thought, this is truly ridiculous. I can't stand it. A sudden call of hey rang out, and both Jioko and Lee Yi-un turned around in surprise. Yi-un ran over and said, sorry I'm late. The company suddenly called me and said it would be quick. Jiok replied, it's okay. I asked you to come. You've paid off your debt long ago, but I didn't know who to ask, so I had to rely on you. He said, it's nothing. I have plenty of time. Lee Yi-un was surprised, breathing heavily. Yi-un was excited. I've always been watching you. I heard you were the first to discover the prison break. I am tough. Yuan Song hesitated. He asked, why did you come? And she replied, I informed the guild that I have something to discuss with the representative of the magic tower. Lee Yi-un said, I'm not sure if the guildmaster is here today. Yuan Song replied, she told me to come. He said, please come in. You can bring your friend along. Everyone then entered the building after the conversation. Lee Yi-un explained that your friend, according to policy, S-rank hunters are not allowed in for security reasons, so he apologized and Jiok briefly thought that they are quite polite in front of A-rank hunters. Step by step, they walk inside, and he thinks this place is the Korean Magic Tower. Jiok knows well that it is one of the largest guilds managing many hunters, making money through hunter activities. Today, we have an appointment with the head of this place, Yuan Song stated. And Yuan Song, an A-rank hunter from the Nell Sisters Guild, I sent a letter yesterday afternoon. Leitan staff member says, you're here. The representative's office is on the top floor. The elevator is over there. Press 60 to go up. Jiok whispered, are we going alone? No one guiding us, just go ahead, confidently, speak up and try it. The elevator chime signals it is moving down to the 60th floor and you stand still, voice trembling. Floor 60, Jiok angrily calls out, Yuan Sung A. A girl sitting on the sofa appears in his mind. Jiok says, something feels wrong. In the elevator, Jiok speaks up, as if something is off, right? I'm sure I pressed the 60th floor, but why did it stop at the second floor like this? The elevator is broken. Yuan Sung awkwardly replied. Sorry, sir, I forgot to mention earlier. But it seems like we're being tested, Jiok repeated with a puzzled look. Tested, Yuan Sung whispered. There are rumors that the guildmaster has strange preferences, because Korea only has 3 high-level hunters, so meeting her is difficult. The people here will trap guests inside Mekong. Jiok looked at the building and asked, is this Mekong? Yes, it's Mekong. You will have to find your own way, Jiok said, carefully analyzing. So this is the kind of place where I only meet those who pass the challenge? Or do I go up the stairs? The boy steps forward, hand ready to open the door. The door opens, a dim light shines through, surprising you and Yuan Sung, who quickly jump into the underground parking lot. Yeah, I heard that if you open a door, it leads to a random place, trapping you in a loop with no escape. You stay calm and say, let's go back to the second floor. Jiok asks how many people have passed the challenge. Yuan Sung replied, I don't know. I didn't hear anything. Maybe no one has passed yet. Jiok's voice was full of doubt. How could that be? How is it that no one has succeeded, since the staff here must know the solution? Do you have any clues? Yuan Song follows behind. Only a few members of the management team would know. How can we solve Mekong so complicated ourselves? Do they want to waste expensive items to solve it? Jiok blinked and said, probably so. We requested the meeting, but they went to such lengths. This person has an unyielding hobby, but I don't think the Mekong design is very good. Then a blue light suddenly flickered, making me want to meet the mage who created it. You said that Mekong was created by magic, giving the impression that it was the achievement of someone with the same origin. Yuan Song followed worriedly. Brother, what should we do? Should we split up to look for a way? If we keep going like this, we'll just be wasting time. Jiok turned to reassure him. Don't worry, Yuan Song. He touched the elevator and thought for a long time. Even though right now I am no different from trash, there is still something I can do. He closed his eyes and reached out to the elevator. Jiok muttered to himself, wishing that such a simple magic spell would be beyond the primitive people's understanding. He opened his eyes, sensing the magical energy around him, and his voice echoed, I've found it. The path to the rooftop, Yuan Song beside him, eyes wide with surprise, asked again, Really, how are you so good at this? Jiok looked over and asked, if you wanted the elevator to be hollow inside, would you move it to another floor? Yuan Song was surprised and asked, so you think the elevator is vertical, meaning it will move straight up and down? And Yuan Song replied, yes, that's right. Jiok's voice echoes, all right, wait for me a moment. His finger touches the elevator button and says, the first thing to do is press the elevator door open button, then go inside and press the button to go to a higher floor. Standing in front of the elevator door, he gestures and commands, Yuan Song, step back. Yuan Song, still confused, follows the instructions and steps back, preparing to step back with his left foot, creating a motion trail and sound. He kicks the door forcefully, startling Yuan Song, who asks what he's about to do. The powerful blow shatters the door, and Yuan Song behind is taken aback and steps back in panic, his face cold and expressionless as the broken door reveals a large gap inside. Yuan Song shouted in panic. Why did you suddenly do that? Jiok's firm voice said, let's go, Yuan Song, which made Yuan Song regain his composure. Where are we going? I look at the broken door and answer, this floor is connected to the one above through a portal. Jiok jumped without hesitation into the gap below. His body fell through the air as a voice echoed. So, jump down, Yuan Song shouted from above. Jiok, immerse yourself in the magical air and then land on the floor of another door. Yuan Song replied after a moment of hesitation. Yeah, I've jumped into even more dangerous abysses in dungeons, so why do I still feel so scared? Your eyes shifted toward the sound and suddenly a voice echoed from the chair in the room saying, you two have successfully reached this point. The swivel chair revealed a beautiful girl smiling and said that they are the strongest among those participating in my maze decoding, and I didn't expect the two of you to find a way out so urgently. I'm very impressed. The girl stood up and slammed the table, but this is just the beginning. From now on, my opponents will be you and Esther from the Magic Tower. She said loudly, sit down, Yuan Song. Hearing Yuan Song trembling, Jiok calmly walks in. She looked at Jiok with a smile and asked about the river. Can you introduce the person next to you? From my observation, this person has strong analytical skills. With your mediocre analysis skills, you can't decode the maze. I set a high difficulty level, but you solved it easily. Jiok briefly thought, she is the one who created the maze. As her words suggest, she is truly unique. He looked at Esther and spoke in a low voice. Let me introduce myself. I am Kim Jiok. Esther sitting opposite you is a good friend because you both have rare skills. Yuan Song turned to look at Jiok, but saw that he was also curious and asking what it meant to have rare skills. Esther explained further that fake awakeners with analytical skills are very rare, so he can also be considered quite special. Yuan Song whispered, oh, Miss Esther here is a hunter with a curse attribute, which is very rare in the world. You wondered about the curse attribute. He thought back and indeed remembered reading information about this company. Esther, an awakening fake with a false attribute. This world is only in the early stage of mana explosion. Having someone who can use complex magic is quite rare. I guess that on Earth, most false awakens like Zhang Hasong and Kang Chang-ho, who awakened fire magic to boost their combat abilities, but those with the ability to create magic shields or heal like Yuan Song are even rarer. People with analytical curse or mind control abilities must be extremely rare. Sorry I didn't realize you earlier. I was a bit emotional after hearing that, so Esther teased. You're probably too busy to follow the news, but I appear on TV all the time. But with your impressive analytical skills, you probably receive many job requests, so I'll stop the small talk here. Yuan Song, you said you want to discuss work at one of the Magic Tower's gates, right? Yuan Song was startled and nodded, then looked at Ziok, but it was actually not me, but him. Ziok coldly replied, I want to request entry through the gate. Yuan Song is just the person helping me arrange the meeting. Since I am only a low-level awakened, I probably won't be allowed in. Esther asks, what level are you? You show your ID card first. Esther is surprised, oh, so you're at FA level. It's understandable given your analysis skills, and your rank is indeed still low. Ziok confidently said, I don't see anything strange. Esther asked seriously, why do you want to enter the gate? Resources are impossible. I don't even have enough resources to use. Ziok replied, I won't go near that area. Esther asked, so you're not after the fruit, then I find it hard to allow you to enter the gate. Esther asked, since you are with Yuan Song, you are a member of the Nell Sisters Guild, right? To break through the gate requires a lot of money, so I can't help other guilds. But if you really want to, have your guild representative talk to me. Ziok thought angrily, bringing someone with equal power to speak, not some random staff member. That's what she meant. Esther challenged, I'm serious, I don't like joking around. Just pay the full amount and you can get in. This thought crossed Ziok's mind. A low-level dungeon. Just a goat level. What's worth her bragging about? She doesn't even know all the useful resources inside. Dr. Doc Yi said, this Hunter Esther, please forgive me, but I don't belong to any guild. Esther listened and was surprised, huh? Yuan Song suddenly stood up loudly. Oh, right. Ziok isn't part of any guild. He's a solo hunter. Ziok calmly continued, she told me I was an analyst, but I've never done that job. The only person I know is Yuan Song. Helping me doesn't benefit any guild. This is just a personal request. Do I think about whether I should mention that too? After a while, he also said, I never intended to ask for a share. Before he could speak, wait. So at the moment, a sinister smile of Esther exudes a terrifying aura. He. She stands up, her hands on the table, laughing maliciously, causing the other person to be frightened and exclaim, what is this? This woman. Esther half smiled with a cold gaze surrounded by a mysterious purple aura that exuded dangerous enchantment. Ziok felt confused and uneasy, wondering why she suddenly had such an aura. I haven't even mentioned the part that makes her so eager yet. Esther, with a proud look and a smug smile, moved forward. She asked too much, why didn't she say so from the beginning? Kim Kirill, Ziok, helpless and looking annoyed, replied, yes. Esther suggested that if I go to the Magic Tower, she would hire me. If I agreed, entering the gate would be simple and she would give me the entire gate. I thought to myself, that's a bit too much. Is she telling the truth? Yuan Song explains that the major guilds have large sources of magic stones and weapons, so skilled appraisers are highly valued. Ziok remembered that these people couldn't check the purity of the magic stones with their eyes. To avoid being deceived in magic stone transactions, they need to hire evaluators. Esther held up 5 fingers to confirm that you'll get an extra 500 million when you sign. The guy was annoyed, asked what she said, she wondered why, said it was too little, and asked if the Neo-Zaza sisters were better. They haven't even managed to capture Yuan Song yet. Why are they chasing after us? Yuan Song encouraged him to calm down. Ziok briefly thought, 500 million, how many bowls of soup could that buy? Esther explained that at the Korean Tower we have many excellent appraisers and the workload might not be too heavy. You wondered if she really wanted to hire me as an appraiser for 500 million. She enthusiastically welcomed you and cheerfully said, of course. Gung was also surprised. Ziok briefly thought, as long as I sit at the sorting table and earn that money, I don't need to do dangerous hunting jobs anymore. Esther then continued, and moreover, you only need to work 4 days a week. The boy was surprised and asked, really? She replied, in the appraisal department, you only need to work 4 days a week with a flexible schedule. Ziok suddenly realized something and thought, wait. Before working on a task, a small hand touched and pressed that button. Gung thought I had retired and was about to rest, but now I have to sign the employment contract myself again. Working overtime, morning meetings with the bosses, complaints from clients, you and Gung both feel stressed, deny it, can't do it. I refuse to work. Esther then hands over a piece of paper, raises it, and asks, how about a little extra motivation? Yuan Song also surprisedly said, so that's how it is. She then continues recruiting, and if you change your mind, you'll always be welcomed warmly. Ziok sadly said, I'm sorry, I will pretend, but I have never heard that offer before. Esther was shocked and asked, what exactly do you want? I expressed that it's not about the money. To be precise, I have no intention of joining a guild. Her eyes showed a lot of disappointment when she couldn't recruit talent like you. Esther replied softly, I see. If you think so, then that's fine. But are you sure because since you rejected my offer you have to pay for entering that gate? I wonder if you can make that much money. Ziok said seriously, I want to choose carefully. I know a very interesting material that, when mixed with concrete or metal for building exteriors, creates a certain level of resistance. Even if monsters attack, the building can stand firm without collapsing because it absorbs mana, Zeok said, stepping lightly on the floor. The plan is to maintain a barrier around the entire tower, which would be quite costly, right? Just this alone is enough to cover the entry and exit fees, Esther said confidently, sounding quite convinced. Of course, only if the thing you mentioned actually exists, Zyok challenged, so she might as well give it a try freely. I am the only one who knows the location of this thing, but since I will share it with you, you are overthinking. That's from last time. The thing used to defeat falling fire, does it really have the ability to absorb mana? Now that I think about letting it appear, I feel a bit hesitant because people are still frequently searching around the gate, so they will find out eventually. Esther is curious. Does this thing really work that well? Do you really dare to reveal such important information? You haven't shared it with others, have you? Zeok hesitated, thinking to herself. She had been acting so proud all this time, but now she questions whether that gate is really that important. You said you promised not to tell anyone, and she asked worriedly if that would cause trouble for you, and Zyok replied, "That's true, but I really don't need any changes. Let's just say I'm helping someone with a rare attribute." On a glorious sunset afternoon, the golden sunlight streams through the building's windows. The morning sunlight streams through the glass into the office, and a voice asks, "Miss Esther, is something wrong happening?" Esther smiles softly, but with a hint of contemplation, hesitating, "Not necessarily something bad. I just want to send away the previous guest for a bit," Hazi asks in surprise. "Really? You're not inviting guests anymore, right? What did you do to the guests just now? You promised not to do that anymore." Esther calmly said, "At worst, they just get cornered in a dead end," then asked casually, "What's it this time?" She replied nonchalantly, "Singing for 30 seconds, Hazi exclaimed. "Too petty, too trivial, but those people earlier didn't actually sing for 30 seconds, right?" Esther said yes. She gently placed the stick on her hand and muttered, "Exactly." She calmly realized and said that when she activated her skill earlier, they must have lost control and had to sing shy, right? The deep, haunting gaze of Zyok clearly reflected her confusion. As she thought, that man kept staring at her. Zyok's stern and intimidating appearance is still evident. Esther says he looks very scary, and he's probably known everything from the beginning. A fake awakener who can block my curse and even affect a level S person. Where did that monster come from? A voice called out, "Miss Esther." Minjun hurriedly reports that the material just now can indeed absorb mana. She asks again, "So what?" He says he can readily give that to someone else if it's good for her, right? Esther thought to herself, how terrifying. She spoke softly, bringing the Kim Kirio miner's file here. "Hagidap, yes, I understand." Esther said, "I need to know what kind of person you are." At the same time, on the way back, Zeok kept muttering to himself. Yuan Song asked Han Hyung, "Are you okay?" Zeok reminded himself to remember clearly, "I will never drink that again." I muttered to myself I thought that thing was only for special guests, so I swallowed it. And then Zeok suddenly realized he had drunk that unusual thing and thought to himself, "What is this?" He briefly wondered. "It smells like industrial glue from Enfaori." She kept saying this was only for distinguished guests, so how dare she make me drink this? Esther's haunting image still lingered in Zyok's mind, as he remembered that he had also met her gaze. Esther asked Han if the coffee was not to his liking. Zeok replied, "It's good," but his mind was thinking that he couldn't spit it out, or he would be considered an alien creature. Let's clarify one thing. Kim Kirio's body is being controlled by me, a magic of an extraterrestrial creature. So when someone has stronger magic than me, no one can control this body using drugs. Period. Even the level E hunter's spell is ineffective. Zeok suddenly remembered. Almost lost it. Unsung asked, "Kirio, the thing you just gave to Esther, you said you're the only one who knows about it. I've never heard of such a substance that can instantly extinguish flames from a fire drop or a burning building." He clicked his tongue and said, "I just found out too." He's rambling. Do you know how valuable it is, and yet he didn't report it to the guild? By the way, did you join the Hunters Guild? Zyok asked casually. No, I don't feel anything, Yulsong replied. I see. He said seriously, "I'm just trying to make a good impression on Hunter Esther." Yulsong's horns flared as he shouted, "What?" Zyok was startled and let out a sound. "What?" He guessed randomly that Esther the Hunter was A's ideal type. He immediately denied it. "No, I don't have any feelings for her either." Ilseong hesitated before speaking. "I understand," but Zyok was still very confused. He was still curious, so, what do you plan to take from that gate? The next day, sunlight shone down like a gentle morning breeze, sweeping through the entire city. And Zyok woke up feeling strong, but his body was in pain. Let's see. It should be completely dry now. Yesterday I entered the gate where you made a deal with Esther, along with Yuan Song, and we were attacked by a horde of monsters. Yuan Song fought without hesitation. Thanks to Yuan Song, an A-rank hunter, the hunt went very smoothly. Thanks to that, I can easily gather this, the essential material for enchanting magic enhancement. Zeok feels satisfied as he wasn't sure he could obtain it. It's all thanks to Yuan Song. Good, luck is on our side. After gathering the hardest materials, the rest are much easier. One step closer to regaining my old strength once I can use magic again. The era of Homo sapiens is over. You open the fridge. Now it's time to replenish your nutrients. Suddenly, a knocking at the door catches Zeok's attention. You wonder, Z, who could be here? Kim Zeok's friend or a family member? A voice calls out from outside. Come out. Zeok reluctantly opened the door, thinking it would be troublesome if it was an acquaintance from his past life. A woman spoke up. Hello, Mr. Kim Zeok. I am from the association. She handed over her card. Could you spare a moment? Zeok thought, just as Eon entered. I was about to eat. What's going on? Eon said. Please step outside for a moment. I'm sorry for the sudden visit, but we have to carry out these procedures without prior notice as per regulations. She glanced inside the room and said, Let me explain the reason for this visit. There is a suspicious report of fraud, and according to the investigation, you are suspected of misreporting your rank. Zeok is surprised, and Eon explains that we need to reassess your abilities. Please go to the Hunters Association immediately, Zeok asked to confirm. Eon replied, Yes. She threatened, Unless you want to be arrested. Zeok looked at the two guards behind her. It seems I won't be able to eat today. The car taking you is speeding down the road. Song Eon, the woman with distinctive long hair and a tough attitude. To explain why she appears before Kim Zeok now, we need to go back a few weeks. She glanced at him critically. Kim Zeok, you must be scared, remember? Surely at that moment, Zeok casually replied. My company is F. Eon suddenly shouted. You are from Company F. So how did you defeat that monster? He calmly replied. Just lucky, I guess. That fool knocked his head against the wall and died. At that time, Kim Zeok was completely different from an F-class company. That made Eon start to suspect that he had been cheating on his rank from the beginning. The suspicion grew when she checked Zeok's records and became suspicious. Is it really a level F? Only entered once. Is that all his experience as a hunter? Just entering an F-rank gate once, claiming he defeated a C-rank monster in 3 days? Do you really believe that? If it's truly a fake identity to cheat the registration level, it would be very dangerous. Who knows what they might do among weaker hunters. However, Wuian had no authority to reopen the investigation. She only filed a suspicion report according to procedure and then let the matter pass. It was supposed to end there. But a few days later, Wuian was surprised to read some news. She looked at the news and exclaimed, It's crazy. Everything changed when Zhang Hasong was rescued from the gate unconscious. Having personally submitted the report on Kim Zeok, the situation has changed. Wuian carefully assesses the situation. I am just a civil servant, but if even a hero like Zhang Hasong doubts it, this is serious. There's no doubt that Kim Zeok definitely cheated on his rank. I thought he would resist or run away when he received the reinvestigation notice. Who would have thought he would cooperate? She remembered when she looked into Zeok's house. The one she saw earlier was too small and old. As long as he reaches the wire, life won't be bad. Is he just saving or hiding secret assets? Eon was lost in thought when Zeok's call interrupted. Sorry. How much is the reevaluation fee? I don't have money, she replied. The inspection costs about 480,000 won. But since this is an assessment based on an investigation, it will be free of charge. However, only if your ranking remains unchanged. If any fraud is detected, you will be penalized and charged for the evaluation. He assessed the situation of a few people sitting at the counter to test their abilities. GOK looked at the device they were using for the test. It's a measuring instrument, but it can't accurately measure the energy of someone with a respiratory illness. You feel relieved, especially since Kim Zeok with tuberculosis and lung damage must have something to worry about. With such a terrible device, what can it possibly measure? Wuian said. Kim Zeok. Mr. Kim Zeok, please this way. The re-examination will use the most advanced equipment. You're startled the latest. She immediately explained the essence of the innovation in the testing process. Zeok was stunned. Has the world already realized this? Still more improvements? Wuian sneered. Kim Zeok has had many chances to improve his ranking already. He panicked. Wait a moment, there's a misunderstanding. Two guards stepped forward and held Zeok's arms tightly. She announced, so we will start right now. No need to remove the metal objects. You're being strapped to the device and can't resist. Oh no, this isn't right. Wuian reports that GOK doesn't have to wait too long. The results are in. If the results differ greatly from before to the point that a change is needed, you will be considered a rank cheater. You must have seen on the news what happens when someone is judged to have cheated their rank. Is that right? Gung is confused, surprised to see such advanced machinery. Gok's anxiety reaches its peak. Could this be the moment when his terrible magical power is hidden, as his lung problem might be exposed? Where should I start explaining, since I'm an alien who took over Kim Ji-ok's body and I discovered he's heavily addicted to smoking, to the point of not waiting for the patch? I paused for a moment when I remembered the test fee was 480,000 won. Wuian begins reading the test results with an awakening value of 14. The rank is forced, but there are no reports at all, and Gun is confused when hearing the results, wondering why those reports don't exist. She continued, "Your value has increased by about 2 levels compared to last year, but this increase isn't a problem, so there's no need to worry. You stopped singing, yet they call it an increase." Jiok wondered if this index could continue to rise in the future. She replied, "No, it usually only increases to this level and then stops. Innate awakening values don't change naturally, you collapse. So is the magic power of this body really only rank E? The reason I failed with magic wasn't because of my lungs, the part that generates power was damaged, but because this body was inherently resistant to emptiness." Jiok suddenly remembered an important detail. No way. So at that time I took the same route, but the golem didn't see me, it only attacked Eon's team afterward. Even if you call out to it, it won't pay attention. Jiok realizes maybe it doesn't even recognize him as an intruder. That harsh truth is closing in on you, Jaeyeon's chest suddenly feeling heavy. Wuian worriedly calls out, "Kim Ji-ok, your spirit is rapidly declining. I need to start accepting this." My eyes stare into the empty space, realizing my reincarnation magic has failed, and now I will... Another day is about to end, and the fear in my eyes is clearly visible, staining the entire sky, living as the weakest low-level mage on this earth. Jiok was walking home lost in thought, thinking that being a great mage didn't mean she wouldn't face failure. She was glad she found out early and all accusations had been cleared. At this moment, Wuian spoke up, apologizing, and asking if he was sure he didn't need to go to the hospital, as sometimes low-level awakening tests can cause side effects. If you are still dizzy, Gok quickly reassures you, "Thank you for your concern, but I am really fine." However, Wuian still couldn't help but feel uneasy, but he seemed unwell after the test, emotionally shaken, unable to believe he cared so much for the people on Earth. "You spoke up, Miss Wuian," she replied. "What's wrong?" Gok asked curiously. "How did you know I was home today, in the morning?" Wuian cheerfully replied, "Oh, that's my awakening skill. I am a seeker." "You didn't understand and asked again, seeker," she explained simply. "It's the ability to track. If there's more information on PixieWiki, I can locate targets or people in real time and use it to track down criminals." Gok interrupted. "Wait a moment. Wuian, you stop her from moving forward and then said, something is lying on the ground beneath her feet, writhing on the dirt." Wuian looked confused this. Wuian is now looking down at Jiok with a slightly confused expression, seeing a dead fox hit by a car, just a fox, probably an accident. He sat down, staring intently. Then she continued, "Incidents like this happen quite often around here." Then he quickly grabbed the fox by the paw to lift it up, and Wuian was extremely surprised. "Gee, okay," I say, "wasting something so precious." She thought to herself, "Precious. Does that mean he finds it regrettable?" And he said, "That thing seems to have died quite a while ago." Touching it like that is a bit unhygienic, but Jiok replied, "If it's dirty, just take a bath." He stood up and said, "Then, Sun Wuian, may I go inside?" She hesitated. "Yes." Gok immediately pointed the way. "Just turn down this alley and you'll reach the house soon. We're almost there," Wuian responded. "Be careful." Watching the fox lying snugly in his arms, she thought to herself that he was planning to take it home and hide it behind the fence. At Anfari, the materials used to create golems are mainly divided into 2 types, one made from blackstone and metal, called golem volker. The other type uses leftover animal remains called golem volker. It seems Kim Gok just found a good experimental sample. Gok silently thought, "Lucky indeed. Biological specimens are scattered all over this world. When I finish the magic enhancement potion, I'll test the spell here first." Sion was a bit surprised to see that look on your face. Watching Jiok walk away, she silently marveled that she was warmer than she thought. But to those on Earth unaware of this, Kim Jiok's actions left a strong impression. What is this? Why is the compatibility so low? It's because of the lungs. Trying to increase the concentration without proper equipment really hurt my lungs. You're still hoping to summon even if the magic power is approved, but at least you should be able to activate the spell. Suddenly my phone rang. I answered. "Hello?" Jiok muttered angrily. "Which crazy person calls at this hour? It's already 10 p.m. Then I wondered if it was because of the article I was reading online. Earlier I had added the sensing skill to Kim Ji-ok's profile so that information is now also public to outsiders. Ever since I added the sensing skill, the invitations from the reconnaissance teams kept coming. It's really annoying. At this moment, Ji-ok sat on the bed and sighed, feeling too lazy to even refuse, exhausted to death. Soon after, another notification came, and he picked up his phone again. What now? After watching, Ji-ok was confused and suspicious. Could it really be happening now at the convenience store? Ji-ok quickly left the house, muttering irritably as he walked, exhausted to death. But I heard they prepared some for me, so I guess I shouldn't ignore it. Ji-ok was walking when suddenly he stopped. In front of him was a black car parked there. He felt extremely confused. What is this? He looked inside and wondered why they stopped here. The mysterious people inside the car were sitting silently without saying a word. Then they suddenly opened the car door and got out. Ji-ok shouted in panic, What? What? As someone suddenly rushed from behind him. He quickly wrapped one arm around Ji-ok's neck, gripping tightly so he couldn't move. Ji-ok panicked. No way. He was suffocating. His consciousness is fading. His eyes are getting blurry and he can't see clearly anymore. The only thing he can see is a large man, his head pounding. In my subconscious, Ji-ok always doubts himself. If it's magic, then the words stand out. But if it's a physical attack, it just can't be. Wait, how long have I been unconscious? Your hands are tied behind your back right now. Where is this place? Your eyes are tightly covered and Ji-ok is helpless. This planet is truly a terrifying place. Who would do such a horrible thing? Is that a voice from someone? Is that the F-class guy over there? You focus your ears and listen. They continue talking. Yes, they caught him just as he was wandering nearby. Ji-ok wondered if it was aimed at him. Could there be a conspiracy against Kim Ki-zu? The group kept talking. Luckily, they made it just in time. But it really was a rank F. I had already tried to get the G rank to launch a surprise attack. But he couldn't move at all. Someone spoke up, making sure nothing was broken. If you see water stains, wash them immediately. The other guy replied, Hey, I'm not an amateur. Suddenly they shouted, Is the boss here? Another voice responded, Yeah, it's me, Ji-ok thought. Who else could it be now? The boss orders everyone to salute. This is our VIP guest. All together. Say hello, sir. The voices outside grow louder. The VIP will personally check the rankings later. You guys get ready now. Others follow orders. The wind is coming. Ji-ok's body stiffened at this. What about the goods? At this moment, Chango smiled with a terrifying tone, waiting to strike. He looked at Ji-ok, who was tied to the chair, and the kid was awake now. You can feel Chango approaching. What do you mean? How do you know that? He decisively removed the cloth covering your eyes, threw it aside, and then cleared his throat before greeting you. It's been a while since we last met, Hunter Kim Ji-ok. Ji-ok is very surprised, Mr. Kang Chang-ho. Why are you here? He immediately replied. It seems you were brought here suddenly, so you probably understand what's going on. Let me explain a little. Recently, there's been a buzz in the industry about a hunter with exceptional sensing skills capable of breaking through the tower's labyrinth, but the problem is that his awakening level is only FG. If you're not happy with your status but have high-level skills, it's easy to become a target for criminals. Ji-ok wonders, what do you guys plan to do to me? I smiled and said, Of course I'm selling it. There are many people in this world who want to hide their true power behind their equipment. To do that, you need a private appraiser. You know that, right? Contract fees aren't always high. You asked again, so bending the rules would be cheaper, right? He replied, You can't compare, especially when it comes to maintenance fees. Ji-ok thought to himself, So right now, do you realize that you are being exploited by the fake empathy trafficking organization? Chang-ho added that especially those at level G or below have weak inner strength and are easily exploited. Since I also work here, I understand the fake love organization well. Letting them be enslaved means no worries about betrayal. Damn, this is exhausting, Ji-ok thought, calling them some kind of VIP. Ji-ok asked, Kang Chang-ho, could you help me a little? He coldly replied, Why should I do that? I'm just a guest here. He turned and walked away. My job here is different. I was just passing by, that's all. Nice to meet you again. Ji-ok was stunned. Hey. A commanding voice says, The new arrivals are here. Put that level-locked name up on the wall. The two henchmen stepped closer to Ji-ok and Dong-than. Yes, sir. Ji-ok stupidly looked up at them, thinking to himself that he shouldn't have been reborn into a place like this. At this moment, they led him into another room, and the door was opened. They pushed him violently, causing him to fall inside. The room looked very dark. Those two henchmen are wearing gas masks on their heads. They are talking to each other, saying, Hey, that guy isn't blindfolded, so what? He's going to pass out anyway. Then the two henchmen quickly closed the door, and Ji-ok quietly observed. He sat up and leaned against the wall, thinking to himself that moving here didn't necessarily mean he would be sold immediately. Why would they leave him alone here? Suddenly, he smells a strange scent. Wait, there's something placed on the corner shelf that is emitting this aroma. Jiok thought to himself, it has a sweet fragrance like some kind of flower. On the table is a wooden jar emitting a scent. Is that a magic tool? Jiok analyzed. It seems to be a sleep-inducing device. Based on the strength of this aroma, it could make even a beginner wake-up level fall into sleep. He cares about that. I need to get out of here quickly. He lifts Day-Day to his mouth and bites down hard. Day-Day held tightly with his foot on the other end, biting with his mouth. Jiok silently prayed, "Please." You try to quickly move the rope to create friction, and finally a spark appears. Smoke begins to rise. Help me with the heat friction. After some effort, the rope tied to your hand finally breaks, and you are surprised. All right, Jiok told himself. Even if he's immune to mind control, in this situation being sold while unable to use any magic would be very dangerous. First, I need to report. But where's my phone? It's gone, of course. There's no way they would leave belongings for the captured victim, so what can I use to escape now? Jiok stood up and was immediately struck by the sight of the magic tool still emitting that strong, fragrant aroma. He reached out and grabbed its chain. Holding the fragrant magic tool in his hand, Jiok thought to himself, this is the only option left. The two henchmen standing outside are on guard. Suddenly they were startled and turned around when they heard a loud noise coming from the room. Now, the room where Jiok is imprisoned is emitting a very strong fragrance from the cursed artifact. Those two covered their noses and shouted, "What is this? Right now I can't do anything about you guys." The strong scent here is so intense that even covering your nose with your hand, you can still smell it. One person quickly collapses unconscious from the power of the magic tool. Jiok stepped outside, still holding the magic tool in his hand, looked at it and sighed. It's quite effective indeed. Suddenly, he accidentally kicked the phone of a henchman. Before anyone notices and comes here, I need to act quickly. Jiok lowered himself, picked up his phone, and thought to himself, if an ordinary person from Earth were in such danger, they would definitely call someone right away, so he quickly pressed the call button and raised it to his ear. "Hello, this is the police. What's the matter? Please report it." "I've been robbed." The officer on the other end asks for clarification. "Hello, please speak more clearly." The other side kept repeating, "I didn't hear clearly." Jiok repeated, "I said I was just robbed." But on the other end, it just answered, "Hello?" The boy helplessly looked at the phone. "What's going on? Can't hear anything? Is this phone broken, or what?" "You send a message, my name is Kim Jiok, I am currently being detained. You feel a bit helpless, so try sending a message, it should be fine." The automatic reply says that 112 has received the report, and it may take some time to mobilize the forces in case of emergency. Please contact 112 immediately. Jiok asked again how long it would take to get here, but all he received was an automated reply. Hoping this hope was already gone, Jiok helplessly thought, what is with this robotic response? Can they read my message? The report has been received, right? I'm so anxious. He thought he had to find another way to stay safe. Then he re-entered the message to send to Eon, hoping for his rescue. After sending it, he stood up, put his phone in his pocket, and reported that the message was sent. Then Jiok picked up the magic tool in his hand. You wonder if you should start the escape plan, while two tall henchmen are checking out the situation. One of the sorcerers sensed something was wrong and said, "Hey, what is that?" In front of them, the smoke village from the magic tool was approaching, and there was something blurry. Jiok slowly approaches them from the foggy village, and one of them, very surprised, asks who that is. The other still wonders if any of us has dyed hair, while Jiok already has the magic tool ready in his hand. Jiok threw the magic tool to attack, then hurled it at the face of a guy in front. Surprised beyond measure, he couldn't react in time. The magic tool hit him square in the face, and the other guy, seeing this, panicked. He shouted, "Wait a minute. Could it be that you are the fake awakened one we just cornered?" When he recognized you, you were holding the magic tool and pointing it straight at him. The henchman's soul then ascended to the clouds, and he immediately fainted. Jiok despised him. They're truly fools, incapable of doing anything worthwhile. He calculated that to get out of here, he needed to find an exit first, but he didn't know the structure of the building, and all the windows were sealed. Suddenly, he sensed something. Huh? Jiok immediately turned around, and at this moment his eyes saw a space door with such a strong force that it could be tracked, even when in a weaker body. Can I still sense it like this? It's a gate, no mistake. There is a gate right outside this building. Most gates that hunters break through are usually in forests or open fields. If I use this as a marker, I might be able to get out. Suddenly, he sensed a group of people approaching, someone shouting, "Wait a minute, what's going on? The captured thief has escaped." You look down the stairs beside you. First, I need to go down. But as soon as I stepped one foot onto the stairs, my knee buckled and suddenly hurt. I panicked, damn it. I haven't even run yet, and my leg gave out. Someone behind has just spotted you. Here it is. Quickly, everyone rushes forward. There's no way a thief can escape. Catch him right now. But upon seeing Zyok holding the magic tool in his hand, the crowd hesitated. Wait, what he's holding? They reminded each other, and everyone took a breath again. Zyok's face turned cold. Now holding your breath is too late. He quickly threw the magic tool, making its scent even more intense. The others quickly covered their mouths and noses, coughing violently and gasping for air. Zyok kept throwing the magic tool, but one of the henchmen swiftly caught it. Holding it tightly in his hand, the furious thug pressed on. Immediately, the henchman rushed toward Zyok at a very fast speed. He roughly pressed one hand against your neck and pushed you against the wall. At this moment, Zyok's whole body kept trembling with fear. He continued speaking, even though I shouldn't touch the goods you're selling, but today, you're doomed. Before he could finish speaking, Zyok grabbed his arm tightly and kicked hard into his chin, and delivered a crushing blow, causing the henchman to immediately lose consciousness. He lay unconscious on the ground, motionless. Zyok also sat down exhausted, then looked at the magic mirror, picked it up, and was surprised. What is this? Why is the mana dropping so quickly? Damn it, running and fighting already exhausted me. Now I'm being followed again. Zyok looked back behind him, thinking to himself. From now on, things won't be easy anymore. The exit, there's no mistake. From the other side of the door, I could sense the movement of the gate. Zyok stood up, forcing himself to walk toward the door, telling himself to think about the typical structure of buildings in this world. With such a large door, it must lead outside. He approached and placed both hands on the door, which was not even locked here. He quickly pushed inside the gate when suddenly a henchman shouted, "Director, a fake awakener just escaped from upstairs." Behind the gate, the boss and Chango are talking, and as soon as they see you, they both raise their hands in surprise, wondering how the manager let them escape. Something's wrong. The henchmen all apologized in unison, and Zyok saw Chang-ho smiling at him. So the gate is inside the building, and Chang-ho is here too. If Chang-ho had just been standing outside the gate, I would have sensed his aura and run away. You bastard! What did you do to the one upstairs, huh? Another thug questions. Is it possible that one person took down all those people alone? You son of a bitch. The henchmen were just bluffing, claiming he only had permission. Was that a fake report to deceive him? Zyok thought silently. So that's it. These guys didn't know I used scent to manipulate the guards upstairs. If I can lure Chang-ho away, I might have already escaped. It would be so much better without this guy here. The boss sighed and apologized, saying he just finished an important deal and asking if he could take a little break. Chang-ho asked again. Help? He replied, I only need you to catch that S-rank worker because the chairman himself will be coming. Our team is strong enough, but it would be better if the S-rank handyman stepped in, right? Zyok thought, daring to ask for help. What is he thinking? Chang-ho agrees. I'll help, because we're in the same boat. The boss is excited, you're quick-witted. Zyok suddenly pulls away. Is that okay too? The boss then said, oh right, it seems you also need a sensor device, but this time I'll give you a big discount. Chang-ho excitedly said, did you hear that? Kim Zyok, you're helping me get a good deal. I think that guy will start to respect me now that I've caught you this time. He helplessly wondered what to do. When will the police arrive? Will they come or not? Did Yuan Song see my message? And now Chang-ho leaned in and whispered to Zyok, how should I escape now? He whispered to himself that there was no way out behind him and that you had already run as fast as you could, so even if I let you go, you wouldn't have the strength to run. You also thought to yourself that I probably didn't want to chase anymore, and now I don't even know what to do. Explaining too much just makes my mouth hurt. At this moment, Zyok spoke again. Hey, Hunter Chang-ho, have you ever seen me run before? Hearing Zyok ask that, Chang-ho, a bit surprised, froze. He slowly asked the wind, not perhaps, but do you want to? Chang-ho then reflected on the past, from the first time he met you, when he had already seen you and talked to you. They have clashed a few times before. Returning to the present, he now denies it, never having done so. He continued saying, even if just once. Chang-ho stepped closer to Zyok, meaning this time he had no intention of running away. Then let's try here. No, actually, I don't think we need to fight here. Hearing that, you immediately raise both hands and say, I surrender. Chang-ho is surprised. Surrender? He keeps talking, saying you defeated all the spirit guards to get here, and then says that, Zyok thought, no, I didn't fight anyone. Probably just assumed everyone thinks like me. Chang-ho doubted, wanting me to believe that surrender, huh? He silently agreed with his reaction, admitting that if it were me, I wouldn't trust someone who once escaped from me. Suddenly, a streak of spiritual green flashed past Zyok's face. So what are you going to do now? He curiously looked to the side and asked, what was that just now? Someone is stepping through that space door, and they call out, "Hey, boss!" It's a tall, muscular foreign guy. Who's into goats? Seeing someone emerge from that portal, Zyok wonders, could this be a teleportation gate? No, it's not a portal but a magic conduit, a space teleportation skill. At this moment, the summoner quickly approached him and said, "It's exactly 12 o'clock, as expected. Punctuality is your trait." The foreigner also happily replied. The Korean people are very good at keeping their promises, so Chango also went over to them. "Aha, so this is the transporter." The mutant replied, "A very rare mage with a space teleportation skill capable of moving people." After hearing this, Chang-ho looked surprised. "Wow, I never expected to see a real person with my own eyes." He then began to introduce himself. "This is S-rank hunter Kang Chang-ho. You already know, right?" He smiled and replied, "Of course, I am the top hunter in this world." Zeok suddenly heard some noise here. "What if I run away now?" Suddenly, Chang-ho unleashes his power, and the foreigner says again, "It's a pleasure to meet Hunter Kang Chang-ho." Our Korean hand gently smiles, ready to attack. He hasn't realized yet and is still talking. Our promise. The foreigner hadn't finished speaking when Chang-ho quickly threw a punch at his head. Immediately after, the foreigner was thrown backward and hit his head against the wall. Seeing this scene, Zeok was extremely surprised. The zombie was panic-stricken and shouted loudly, "Zeok, what is that?" At this moment, the foreigner had his head slammed into the wall and died instantly. Hunter Kang Chang-ho coldly turned back, and the clone shouted, "What is going on here?" Han replied calmly, "Just to deal with this useless thing that has already cost a lot of money and time. Those with the ability to teleport through space, just a small mistake, and they vanish instantly, making it very hard to catch them. At first I didn't care if you were smuggling or illegally using the teleportation gate, but with that person who has the ability to open a space passage, Zeok still doesn't understand what is happening now." Chang-ho's eyes flashed with danger as he activated his spiritual power and approached the clone. "I truly care about it." The two henchmen quickly stood up to block in front of the clone. Chang-ho continued, "Pulling a teleportation user out of my territory is a whole different matter." He then appeared behind one of the henchmen. The minion shouted, "Master, go through the teleportation gate quickly," and in an instant, Chang-ho punched him. The henchman quickly flew far behind Zeok. Your master silently thought to himself that he truly couldn't be defeated, and it's no coincidence that he reached S rank, since the hunter ranks set by the association only go from A to F initially. But at some point, hunters with extraordinary strength began to appear more and more, and the highest level beyond the standard ranking, which emerged last and was beyond measurable strength, was level S. Another henchman was also attacked and fell to the ground, while Zyok stood silently observing. In fact, that creature was at the top of the food chain on Earth. Now only the boss is left alive, leaning against the wall, his face showing clear signs of worry and fear, trembling uncontrollably. His voice stammers as he pleads, "Please, spare me, I beg you." Chang-ho stepped closer, his face darkening. And in this situation, he still demands I do something. His eyes clearly show contempt. Asking for mercy, really? The boss looked up at Chang-ho with a pale face, and immediately he quickly ended the life of the boss in a swift manner. Hearing the loud cry, Zio could only feel helpless and turn away. He was sweating and silently thought to himself that he really shouldn't have caused trouble with Kang Chang-ho. Suddenly, the sound of police sirens made Zeok and Chang-ho startle. Outside the building, there were 5 police cars parked. Are they the police? Chang-ho quickly turned back, anxiously asking, "Did you call the police?" Zeok thought to himself. "That's right." Then he immediately responded to him. "Oh, right. His teacher asked you, why are you so surprised?" Then Chang-ho quickly spoke up. "Let me say this first. Don't lump me in with that organization. I'm just stopping those bastards from selling fake awakeners from Korea abroad." Zeok quickly interrupted. "That's the police's job." Chang-ho just gave a faint smile. "If you knew how slow the police are, you wouldn't say that. At first, I only planned to find this place in a few days, but it took much longer." After most of the awakened officials switched to the hunter profession, the manpower shortage became more apparent. This time, they acted faster than I expected, but at least I had some help from Hunter Kim Zeoka. He patted your shoulder, and although he was curious, it was too late to ask more. Hearing Zyok's surprised exclamation, he said, "Do you thank me?" He thought to himself again, "Wait a minute, I remember now. Hey, that guy has gone somewhere else, so staying here might be a bit troublesome." Thinking quickly, he shouted loudly, "Kang Chang-ho, wait, hey kid over here." No matter how much you call, Chang-ho still hurriedly left. Zeok helplessly shouted, "Damn it." In this situation, that damn S-rank hunter disappearing like that can only make things worse. The police quickly rush into the room. One officer approaches Zeok, while the others point their guns at him and shout, "Put your hands up, police." They grabbed your neck tightly with both hands and threatened you. From now on, if you use your awakening powers, you will be severely punished. And what did the person who captured the victim do to them? Zeok helplessly explained. Oh, I am the one who reported the crime, but the police officers still ignored your words and gave orders. Don't move. From this moment on, you're under arrest because if you treat an alien like this, what would happen to a human? Suddenly, a voice from behind shouted, Wait. That's Wuian. She just ran over here. She asked, panting heavily. Is that Kim Zeok? Why are you handcuffing him? The boy quickly turned back and replied. Even I don't understand this, the police officer holding you said. Do you know this person? Wuian replied. Yes. This person is the one who reported the false awakening incident. After hearing that, the police officer took out the key and opened the gate. I see. I'm sorry, Zeok thought helplessly. I told you already. Just listen to me for a moment. You turned to ask why Seon Guion came here so quickly. She shows the message on her phone. Oh, I received a message from Hunter and Yuan Song. She said she received this from Hunter Kim Zeok. You look at the messages. Luckily, Yuan Song received my message in time. Currently, Hunter Yuan Song is dealing with a monster escape in the CV City break zone. I heard he received this message while on a mission. Wuian continued. Then I used my tracking skill to get here. A police officer immediately shouted, Captain. That police officer quickly reported that I had provided information about the suspects hiding here. Most of them are connected to illegal human trafficking rings, the captain exclaimed. Zico, the police officer continued. This is the organization that recently kidnapped the awakened elders and sold them abroad. It seems this place is their gathering point. Wuian thought to himself, I know them. A secret organization. Even the investigators would have a hard time tracing them. The team leader said it looks like this used to be the boss's base, but now it's abandoned. Maybe this organization has already disbanded. He approached Zeok. Could it be you? The boy replied. It's not me. It's that crazy guy in the white shirt. The police continued to ask. So there are many people resting on the floor, but I didn't do it, although. The police interrupted again. Could the reporting person please clarify more clearly? Zeok sighed deeply. There's no other way. He then replied, I only did it to defend myself. After hearing this, Wuian looks surprised again and raises her hand to her chin. Recalling that Kim Zeok was not injured at all and was even found in the boss's room, and the person who reported the incident was also him. Wuian quietly observes the surroundings of this room, and the space door is right in the middle here. She took a quick look and remembered that he barely had any injuries. Even though he was sold abroad, his attitude remained so calm. Did Kim Zeok really get caught off guard? Or is all of this a setup? Wuian stared intently at Zeok, holding the magic tool, revealing Zeok's true intentions. A peaceful street under the bright sunlight of a beautiful morning. In a room, Zeok muttered to himself, I didn't mean to do it. In front of you is a low wooden table and a magic tool. Zeok muttered to himself that finally he had obtained such a free magic tool. Isn't that too good to be true? If the police still don't understand its purpose or even mistake the owner, then this must be a rare item, and being able to recharge it for continuous use suits him very well. If someone runs away, I can just laugh it off and forget about it. Zeok wondered, this is only effective on humans, right? It probably doesn't work on animals or monsters. Suddenly, the bubbling sound of boiling came from the teapot on the stove. He turned around and finally, Zeok stepped forward, reaching out to turn off the stove. He eagerly looked at the finished product. It's a success, this perfect color. Zeok briefly thought, alone on this remote planet, with ordinary ingredients, I can make this. Surely I am a truly exceptional genius, grand mage. Enhancement magic. Drink this, and you'll surpass the minimum magic threshold needed to activate spells, and be able to use magic for a short time. Basically, it's like a lighter's flint, providing an initial energy boost. He put down the cup, muttering to himself, Good, breathing is fine. The effective time of this potion is 5 minutes, enough to complete a spell. Zeok raised his hand, a green light emitted, and he said, Then let's try casting the first spell on Earth, to heal the young snow fairy and repair the injured right leg and calf. Zeok held out the blue flame in his hand, speaking softly to stabilize his body and halt aging. He took gentle steps across the sand, murmuring to himself, Is it done? Zeok felt so happy. All right, the pain is gone, you say. But it's still too early to celebrate because the journey ahead will be like a long marathon, Zeok pondered, double-checking himself to be more certain. Kim Kiryo's magic power is quite impressive. Just a little low-level magic is enough, but my magic power is already nearly exhausted, and my body's coordination has also decreased, so I can't use enhancement potions frequently. No, don't rush your thoughts. Anyway, success is still success. Think as positively as possible, and let's first prepare today's meals. Just as you were about to thank me, Gincha added that you still haven't sent me the rent money. Zyok suddenly remembered. The rent money? He explained that it's been several months and he can't wait any longer, plus he saw that the house's mailbox was full, so he brought it here, and the management fee hasn't been paid yet. The boy awkwardly stammered, "Well, about that." Zyok's face turned pale, as if he had fallen into a deep abyss. This has been going on for months. Gincha gently said, "You know, if you keep doing this, people will keep calling me. You need to pay quickly. I'm only waiting until the end of this month. You wonder, sorry, what's the exact rent amount?" He replied, 450,000 won a month, 3 months late, so that's 1.35 million won. Right then, Zyok panicked. What 1.35 million won? Gincha, leaving the room, said, "If you don't pay by the end of the month, pack your things and leave. I'm counting on you, landlord." You replied. "I understand now, Zyok," turning away from the room, clutching the door lock tightly as he closes it heavily. Everything is over. If he can't pay the 1.35 million won, he'll be kicked out of this house, and Kim Kai-reel's current balance is 3,351. He tried to find a solution. If the deadline is at the end of this month, then there are only 14 days left. Zyok briefly considered, summing up the bills. The amount needed, plus rent, is 3.5 million won. He muttered to himself, "Is there no way to make money, or maybe I've hidden some money and forgotten about it?" A faint glimmer of hope suddenly flickered in his mind. The phone rings, then you hear a voice say, "Hello, is this Kang Chango's number?" And at the same time, in a skyscraper, Chango's voice echoes, "Is the usual fee." Chango repeats, "The car accident last time, A. When I tried to contact you, you refused to listen. Now there's some lingering effect." "A," he asked softly, with a contemptuous smile on his face. "How much do you need?" Zyok suddenly froze, hesitating nervously before Chango's question. He stammered, 300, and he was surprised, asking, "What did you say? I couldn't hear clearly." "Zyok wants to change the amount. I need 200,000, he thought to himself. Since Nai signed from the Rongha Song case to the recent human trafficking case, he owes me already, so calling for more isn't too much. Chango coldly says, "If you don't tell me, I'll hang up now. You shall wait, 303 million won." Zyok carefully asked again, "Is it possible?" And he was surprised, asking if you mean yes or no. Chango immediately raised his hand to his phone and did something, which was really ridiculous. "Tien handa truyen dua guai den Zyok, hantakat loi noi, guai roi. Kovokung bat ningo, so tien lon hu thane laida dang hu vei." Returning to the present, he pondered quietly. But after paying the rent and settling the remaining bills, there wasn't much left. It turned out this wasn't just about earning enough for food. Is there any way to make more money, I wonder? As a weak outsider mage, what can I do here? Suddenly a call comes in, and Zyok is surprised to realize it's Yuan Song. He hesitated, realizing that he had been too flustered and forgotten to thank him. And because he was worried, he took the initiative to answer the call. But then I suddenly thought, wait a minute. A level 100 only needs to conquer the gate once to earn thousands or even hundreds of millions. Right, transitioning to a small eatery, Zyok said that day, "Thanks to your contact with Songu Eon, I survived Yuan Song. I was going to buy you a meal to thank you," Yuan Song replied. "Just a coffee is enough for me." The guy agreed. "All right then," Eon said happily. "I'll enjoy it really well, brother." Zyok felt uncomfortable, preferring to go eat even though just the smell of coffee beans made him nauseous. The waiter asked, "Would you like to order something?" Zyok replied, "I'll have the best here, vanilla latte." Yuan Song said, "Give me an Americano, please, and hand it over the order, but please leave out the coffee. Anything with a coffee smell always." The staff member was very surprised and asked again, Yes, I will do my best," Zyok briefly thought. "What, am I going to reveal that I am an alien?" Yuan Song spoke first anyway. "I was very surprised when I heard you were captured. I was really sorry. I should have come in person." Zyok gently replied, "I heard you were handling a Dandan break case." Right then, he explained honestly the situation. There was really bad, so I had no choice but to ask Yen Wuian for help. You said, "All right, then you've worked hard enough." Zyok ponders, first preparing the ice tray to make ice alcohol. He then speaks, "But Yuan Song, lately you've been mostly dealing with breaking up fights, right?" Yuan Song was surprised by the question, "Huh?" Zyok sternly questioned, "How long has it been since you last entered the gate, huh, when you went out with me?" He listened, his face sweating, hesitating as he said that, his eyes sharp as if he wanted to devour someone, just as I suspected. I continued to ask sternly, "Are you still afraid to enter the gate?" Zyok kept pressing, "Are you still afraid to enter the gate?" Yuan Song looked extremely panicked and stammered, "Actually, that's right." Going back might still be a bit difficult for you, Zyok thought, just as I expected. Suddenly encountering a high-level monster, betrayed by the teammates he trusted. The feeling of fear from death being so close right beneath you. How can a college student just over 20 handle that? It must be a huge mental shock, Zyok then said. But Yuan Song, even so, you can't keep following a high-level hunter like me forever. It's time for you to rebuild your own team or prepare to become a solo hunter. You understand what I mean. Yuan Song replied sadly, and Zyok noticed something unusual. Suddenly, he seemed to feel discouraged. Do you really think I want to abandon him? I'm not an idiot. Why would I just throw him away? Zyok suggested, so I have thought it through. Yuan Song, if you don't mind, I would like to train you directly. How does that sound? You keep talking, I can guide you on how to use your skills and control your magic to a certain extent. Yuan Song happily asks, Really? For me, it's definitely amazing. Zyok gently set down the cup and let out a small sigh, feeling he had achieved his goal. Zyok thought to himself, I can easily fall into this trap. It really feels so natural. Zyok continues, but just to mention, let's go straight to a suitable gate now. Outside, the sky has turned yellow as the sun slowly sets. Zyok glanced at Yuan Song. Good, everything is going according to plan. This is a cafe near the G-level gate, Maximus Temple. This is a gate that is not favored because the drop rate of magic stones is extremely low. In other words, it is a perfect place for training. Zyok secures the location. This place seems suitable. Let's see. You said that the attribute you awakened is the defense system, right? First, show me your main skill. Yuan Song nodded obediently. Yes, I understand. Practicing in front of you makes me nervous. He frowned, and the young man activated his ability. Yuan Song focused all his strength to create a sturdy protective shield. The shield descended to the ground with a loud crash, dazzling sparks flying. The shield, an active skill that creates a magical barrier in front of the user, consumes more mana, and the shield grows larger. Yuan Song hesitantly asked, What do you think? Zyok still calmly asked, First I want to ask you something. You only and seriously asked, Why can you only block in front? Yuan Song was surprised by Zyok's question, Why only block in front? Because that's simply how the skill has always been since I first awakened. It has been working this way all along. When Zyok realized something was wrong, now I understand. He thought hard. This is like seeing a crystal ball for the first time. Zyok muttered, It's really frustrating to the point of wanting to die. He pondered, unsure where to start or how to explain. Zyok gently clarified, Yuan Song A, that skill not only protects the front, but must cover all directions. He was surprised and said, Yes, you mean to wrap your body with a shape like a glass dome, not just build it flat in front of you. Yuan Song asked in surprise, A glass dome shape? He focused again and tried to create a shield in the shape of a glass roof. Later, Yuan Song said, Brother A, you can increase the size, but the shape cannot be changed at all. Zyok thought, Oh my god, you're so stupid, it's really annoying. He stepped closer to Yuan Song and encouraged him loudly. Try again. Zyok explains, Imagine your back area as the center of this skill and release your magic in a perfect sphere, like a crystal ball. Yuan Song responds, Like this, perfectly round. He sighed and said, It seems like you're not doing very well. Zyok patted his chest. Stop pretending to be hurt and focus. Zyok reminds him not to lose the image in his mind. Yuan Song's eyes are full of determination, and he responds, Yes, sir. Zyok sternly points, keeps his breath steady and exhales, then listens. Yes, you still say, No, I don't mean to release mana like that. Yuan Song apologizes. Zyok silently thought that it was a difficult process for both Yuan Song and myself, but after 20 minutes of Spartan-style training, Zyok finally breathed a sigh of relief. We have seen the results. Yuan Song excitedly said, all right, this is right, isn't it? But I can't move even a single step. Suddenly, just before the protective ring appeared, a crack formed, and before it shattered, fragments scattered everywhere. Yuan Song could only smile bitterly. It's already broken, Zyok comforted him. It's okay. Just keep trying, and it will get better. You think that once you succeed and practice well, sooner or later you'll be able to create a shield without blind spots. Yuan Song was moved and thanked him for helping, saying he couldn't imagine his skill could be used like this. Zyok explains that the final skill depends on your mood. In fact, mana is greatly influenced by the mind of the user. Therefore, those who are a bit arrogant and boastful are more likely to become good mages. Yuan Song called out, Hey! Zyok comforted. You replied, Z. He carefully asked what the next training would be. Zyok replied, Understood. He announced, This time, let's try some practical training. That's right, skills only improve through frequent use and practice with monsters. Yuan Song immediately frowned when he saw Sentinin. He used all his strength to create a circular shield that blocked Sentinin's attack. Its strength is incredibly powerful. Yuan Song has to use his legs to counter it. He extends his arm forward with a determined look in his eyes. Yuan Song uses his shield to attack Sentinin's body but fails. He frowned and withdrew his counterattack. Yuan Song suddenly realized something. Sentineo raised the shield and attacked the round-shaped shield with incredible force. A loud clash echoed throughout the space. A flash of light appeared in Yuan Song's eyes. It seemed he had found a new opportunity to counterattack. Yuan Song turns his back to the spear, planting his foot firmly on the ground. He steps back, preparing to deliver a counterattack. Yuan Song stretched out his hand, unleashing immense power. An intense battle ensued. He summoned his strength to end this fight. GOK standing outside praising, "Very good. Well done. Indeed, level A, the strength is truly overwhelming." He softly said, "Then take it slow now." GOK saw the scattered diamonds and muttered to himself, "I should start collecting too." He thought to himself that some people said the magic stones and the gems on the forehead could be exchanged for money. GOK spoke softly. "Safety first. Look carefully ahead and take it down." He thought, "This is a good chance. I'll quickly gather all the items that the A rank is hiding and leave no loot behind." GOK thought that there was no need to hunt monsters himself. This way, he could survive for a month. It's better this way than directly asking Wusung to make money or hunt monsters. If I accidentally bother an A rank, it's game over. I'll take as much as I can without letting En Wusung notice. "So, how is it, En Wusung? Have you figured out the trick yet?" GOK's eyes narrow slightly as he looks at the person in front of him with concern. GOK hesitated as Wusung stared intently at him, reacting a bit slowly. Could it be he has discovered I mixed his food? Breathing heavily, and Wusung has never once in his life felt true fear. During school days, Wusung never had a respected mentor like other teenagers often did. Even in the face of the ceaseless praise for sports stars on TV, he never truly felt admiration. Just thinking that there are people in the world who are talented like that, they must be happy. Those are all the feelings he has now, and finally, Wusung understands the true meaning of respect. He feels confused inside. This is all so absurd. How can he figure out the hidden usage of a skill just by observing it once, and the way he's explaining it so naturally is like catching his breath? I've never heard of a skill that can identify the problem of another skill. Moreover, Gigi Young isn't just an experienced analyst. I saw with my own eyes that he's a hunter with a clear combat ability. His sensing ability must have been learned back then. But still, he was able to give advice like this. As expected, he's not an ordinary person. Ji Young gently asks how he's doing. Yuan Sung, what's wrong? Do you understand now? He hesitated. Brother, here's the thing. Yuan Sung sweat and sighed. It's so embarrassing. Facing someone so skilled with their hands, I can't even use my skills properly. How embarrassing would that be? He clenched his fists. I tried my best, but it seems I still couldn't do it, and I'm sorry you're spending your precious time to teach me. I will try to practice perfectly as soon as possible, Ji Young softly calls out. Not Yuan Sung, don't rush. If you can't do it today, you can try again next time. There's no need to go back to hunting activities right now. Why the rush? He lowered his head, but he reached out and said he would help you again tomorrow. Even in the days that followed, since you're a hunter specializing in pressure, you have plenty of time. Yuan Sung hesitated, calling out Oppa, feeling secretly touched. He shared his valuable experience to help someone who had lost confidence like me, even lying so easily just to make me feel less pressured. Since the first time we met, I've felt this way. I want to do something to repay this kindness, no matter how. Yuan Sung cheerfully asked if there was anything she could do for him. Zyok stared blankly, let out a small laugh, and patted his chest repeatedly. Do you need something from me? The boy was confused. What do I need from you? Nothing at all. Yuan Sung smiled softly, as I expected. He would answer that way because he's a person with no ego at all. How silly was my question that he even stammered when replying. He is not easily tempted by material things like pragmatic people in modern society. I thought that becoming an A-class hunter would allow me to do something to repay him, but I couldn't even find the words to thank his soul. Yuan Sung glanced and spoke softly. What I understand today, I will follow your advice, stop here and not push myself too hard. So I'll take my leave first, brother. He silently thought that now I should focus on seriously training under him to gain strength, and one day I will definitely be able to help him. Zyok just silently pursed his lips, a drop of sweat rolling down. Yuan Sung thought of that face and wondered silently, does he really expect nothing from me? Or is that just his subtle way of reminding me? He squinted, glancing at the scattered diamonds, briefly pondering. Maybe for an A-rank hunter, this is just like a 10 guan coin. If things keep going like this, even C or B rank gates might become worth hoping for. Just selling the items I picked up today is enough to pay the rent for the month. Suddenly, a coin flash and a burst of light. Yuan suddenly appeared holding a sealed letter, looking at her with a puzzled expression. That person is Yuan, who looked at his watch and greeted Hunter and Yuan Song. You're a bit late, huh? This is just a G-rank gate after all. Today, I am here to deliver a message to Hunter and Yuan Song. Hunter Kim Ji-jong, you are a mage hunter. Why are you here? Hunter Kim Ji-jong, you were suspected of leveling up and even had to be rechecked, right? And yet I just managed to shake off the suspicion. I never expected to see you enter an illegal portal, feeling disgusted. Honestly, I still left this behind. Yuan Song quickly spoke up. Hunter Sion Wuian. Actually, you interrupted. I entered as a transporter. I am working under contract with Yuan Song. Wuian questions sharply, staring intently at the bag to see what's inside that he calls work. How do you call that an explanation now? Hunter and Yuan Song, you too. If you keep recklessly entering illegal gates like this, you'll face serious trouble. He agrees, that's right. But his mind is blocking him. Wait a minute, Sung Wuian, is it illegal? According to the association's rules, she replied, there are clearly no restrictions on cargo transporters entering the gate, but that betrays the true carriers. This rule isn't meant for someone as renowned as you to exploit. Why don't you see that your attitude only makes others more suspicious? Hunter and Yuan. Sung, out of fear for his life, always strictly follows the rules as a novice. But this dismissive attitude below the rank level only makes people more suspicious. Please cooperate with the association. The boy lowered his head and whispered, yes, I understand. I'm feeling really discouraged. Right now, there's no other choice but to say it like that. It's just that they treated me leniently, so I forgot for a while. But the rank of this illusionist is B, and even a B-ranked monster can tear apart a lion in the wild with its bare hands. There's no benefit in deliberately causing more confusion. Yuan continued reading the information. Hunter and Yuan Sung, please come with me for a moment. There is an issue regarding the change of area after the Junjun break incident. He was dizzy, but obeyed. Yes. He glanced at the judge. Even an A-rank hunter like an Yuan Sung couldn't resist. If that's the case, I won't be able to use this method to make money anymore. That's it. There's no other choice. I anticipated this and have already prepared a backup plan. Yuan secretly watches your back with a suspicious look. The scene shifts to the next day. A message about a new item appears on the phone screen, accompanied by a voice. I've been muttering to myself lately. Every morning when I wake up, I'm used to gathering information about the hunters. It seems like the analysis of this item is complete. The twin guardian pair, huh? There has been no information about it all this time, so this bracelet first appeared in that X-class dungeon. Dioc suddenly sat up, hesitating, hoping that the twin guardians would contact him again, so he kept it safe. Now, he's wondering if he should give up. Tran looked at his bracelet and realized something. Is that really true? This weapon. Until now, I only stored a precious item in it. But today, I finally get to use it. It's for a reason. All right. Let's start the journey because today's experiment will be a little dangerous. Immediately after, Dioc stepped carefully on the lush green grass. He looked around, wondering, where is this place? Suddenly, something caught Dioc's eye. He looked at the black hole in front and exclaimed, I found it. The displayed information shows that the gate has the lowest danger level, an undervoltage gate, divided into two types, blue gate and Z gate. This is a blue gate with no end to the monsters appearing continuously in a vast area. As long as I defeat enough monsters, the gate will close automatically. Dioc stepped forward confidently. Today, I'm here to hunt, because this gate has a free entrance, making it truly ideal for training. Xian Weian's warning has blocked his tempting path to wealth. The bright sun shines in the blue sky filled with clouds. The scorching sun makes Dioc squint, standing in the middle of a vast, beautiful green prairie that stretches endlessly. Not far from Dioc, a herd of goats is grazing. Mountain goats, their bleats sound like a broken violin. He admired the strange blue vial in his hand, truly a magnificent sound. Doc uncapped the vial, and a mystical mist poured out. It looks gentle on the outside, but in reality, it's a dangerous monster, one of the strongest high-level creatures. He quickly drinks the mysterious potion, which is almost empty. Doc senses the change from within. All right, it's rising now. Your body emits a powerful source of energy, magic. Doc's source of magic erupts fiercely. This level of aggression cannot be ignored. Seeing the mountain goats look at him, he feels a bit amused. Oh. At the end, Dioc creates a powerful fiery sphere with confidence, faster than anyone else. He coldly commands them to turn to dust. That monster. The fireball shot straight at a mountain goat. It was burning fiercely in midair but gradually grew weak. Before the heat could spread, the sphere quickly faded into nothingness. It only managed to leave a tiny scratch on the mountain goat's forehead. Although the wound was small, it was enough to drive the goat into a frenzy. The savage beast breathes heavily to gather strength before charging straight at him. Dioc's mouth gapes in shock as he screams in terror. He runs for his life. I knew it. I knew this would happen. With the level of forced magic power, of course, this was bound to happen. Dio ran for a while, then looked back to see if he had shaken off the monster. But it seemed he underestimated the stamina of this mountain goat too much. You're confused. What is this? Why is it so fast? The ferocity of this monster makes Dio unable to escape. Damn it, I pushed myself to run to the gate, just a little more. Dio ran exhausted and hopeless. Could it be? That mountain goat is still fiercely chasing him. It roars and opens its mouth wide. Just as it seemed like it was about to bite Dio, he managed to leap through the gate successfully. Am I going to die here? You stopped to catch your breath after just finishing the run. Dio panted with relief, glad he was safe and that it didn't chase him beyond the gate. Kim Kirio's magic condition is even worse than I thought. And moreover, his stamina is terrible, just running a little, and he's already like this. Suddenly, a voice from behind Dio said, Huh? Him? Is that you? How long has it been? Gungai's head wondered. Who is he? Dio cautiously asked, Who are you? The other person replied, It's been a long time. Are you still a hunter? Don't you remember me? Remember the time we took the hunter certification exam and entered the gate for the first time? I was the team leader back then, Jaehyun. Hearing that, DOC tried to recall in his mind a familiar face of Kim Kirio. I have a vague memory of him. If he knew Kim Kirio from before, I shouldn't have spoken carelessly. He cheerfully continued, Oh, you're Sung-hoon, right? You sighed and corrected him. Close enough. I'm Kim Kirio, hoping Jaehyun would remember. Oh yes, Kirio Hyung. Hey, do you remember when we ran from the monster? It was just a low-level beast and you even fell down and begged for mercy. The more I listen to Jiok, the more annoyed I get. He's talking too much. He changed the subject and asked, Why are you here? You went to the yard alone, and you casually replied, Yeah, I just went to the yard for a bit. Jaehyun sighed and reminded you forgot, right? You promised to stop using honorifics with me. Gung quickly snapped out of his fear and wondered if he had really promised that. Jiok hesitated and apologized, saying he'd been forgetful lately, then nodded and agreed to drop the formal speech. Jaehyun, he replied happily. Yes, you're planning your strategy in your mind, feeling quite uncomfortable. But I can't leave right now. I have gaps in my memory due to the failed soul possession, and this Earth person might be the missing piece to fill that gap. Jaehyun extends an invitation. Since we've met here anyway, let's go together today. Jiok's a bit surprised. Today, we're forming Team A. He nods and explains. Actually, going alone is a bit difficult, and we're short one team member. Jaehyun turned around and pointed back. Do you see the group over there? Not far from where the two of them are standing, there is a group of 3 men. He introduced them as the people I am working with. The person holding Jiok is the team leader, Jae, and as you look at him, you realize he's probably the strongest in the group. Jaehyun asked Jiok for his opinion. What do you think if we agree? We can go through the gate now. Don't think too much, you'll refuse outright. Sorry, I've used all my mana. Hunting now will be very difficult. Jiok silently thought. Actually, I already used the mana recovery potion today. He still smiled brightly and said, I see, it's okay. Actually, I don't need to find more hunters. You were surprised, huh? Jaehyun replied, Actually, today's canceller was the porter, and everyone in the team is worried about how to carry the backpacks more conveniently. Can you help temporarily as a porter today? I will reward you generously. His eyes lit up, and Jiok was surprised, thinking he would be rewarded handsomely. He considers his words carefully. If it's just about carrying things, it might be worth seeing how a normal group of hunters operates. The monster with the sharp horn is aiming straight at the crowd, as if ready to swallow everything with its large belly. The monster's heavy breathing echoes loudly, shaking the surroundings with a deafening roar. Jiok raises the magic orb into the air. Reminder, we've fallen into a trap. Manhwa. Reply like an enemy. From now on, focus on critical strikes. Everyone, be careful. Don't face it head on. The furious beast grits its teeth, craving food. Jiok reminds everyone. Everyone, wait for the kick. The terrifying sound as the monster crushes the mana shard. It charged towards them at terrifying speed. You observe the shards of magic breaking apart and signal. It is at this moment. The teammates behind are also ready, standing firm in a defensive stance. At this moment, amidst the thick dust and smoke on the ground, a towering tree suddenly appears, and the beast charging forward is immediately caught by the tree's branches around its neck, causing it to scream in terror. It desperately struggles to escape from these easy-to-break threads. Suddenly, a deafening sound comes from the ground, dust flying everywhere. After a long struggle with those relentless, easy creatures, it finally exhausted itself and collapsed to the ground. The hunter confidently drove the sharp axe into the monster's abdomen. On this side, Jiok with his clown glasses is nibbling on popcorn, while the monster's breath grows weaker and its eyes turn white with fear. The team saw the monster fall and eagerly ran over. Well done, we succeeded, everyone has worked hard. Jiok with a thoughtful chin reflected on what just happened. This team really works well together, leading the monsters from the front to focus their targets. The mage behind will lock them down and deliver the final blow. Simple, but very stable, just like watching prehistoric hunters hunt mammoths. With this power, I can almost handle all the weakly leveled monsters now. At this moment, Wanho's calm voice sounded. All right, now let's close the gate. Han stepped closer to Jiok with a smile and spoke. Thank you. Thanks to you, I was able to survive. Who would have thought that irresponsible guy would leave me to handle the one ruining everything? Anyway, I am still very impressed with you. If you hadn't stepped in, everything might have fallen apart. Actually, I was planning to thank you more for being Hai Hyun's acquaintance. But it's so nice. You look at the stack of money in your hand without any emotion, ma'am. What is that thing? Manhwa smiles and hands a few bills to his face. Here, take it. Jiok hesitated. It seems a bit too much for just carrying things. Han explained that he did it because he had helped us a lot, so at least he deserved some reward. Hearing Manhwa say that made Jiok happy. It was truly wonderful. Suddenly he spoke up. Hey, Kim. Jiok, do you have free time tomorrow? Hearing that, you became a bit curious. Tomorrow? He suggested another request. Actually, we still have one more pressure gate to handle. But we're short on porters, and finding someone new right now would be too troublesome. It would be great if Mr. Kim Jiok could help us. The gold-plated bracelet on Manhwa's wrist flashing caught Jiok's eye, and he asked directly, So what do you think? The deep blue sky backdrop highlights the brightly lit breakfast stalls, accompanied by the sound of someone saying, Are you sure? Jae-hyun started discussing, confirming it was an item from the high-level gate, with a resale value that could increase by up to 400%. Manhwa stared in shock. Are you sure? He sighed and jumped again. The information was just released yesterday, so a counterfeit must have already been made. Manhwa muttered to himself, wondering if there was anything else that could be exploited besides that ring, since that guy was broke. Jae-hyun said, After all, just that ring is enough to live comfortably. In the world of hunters, there are always those who avoid facing monsters and dangers, targeting easier prey. Like scent hunters seeking weak targets, these are usually novice hunters who are unfamiliar with the portals and overly focused on their protective gear. They survive by targeting easy prey, like frogs catching smaller scents than themselves. In the community, these are called scent frogs. And what's even worse is that Jae-hyun keeps asking around. The location is the wing, that gate, right? And there aren't even any CCTV cameras there. Manhwa is enjoying his meal contentedly. Jae-hyun, you once worked with that hunter team. Right. Is there anything to watch out for with him? He quickly reports that the thing to watch out for is that he is the weakest among the hunters. As far as I knew, he even had a limp and couldn't jump properly anymore. Their actions went beyond just stealing valuable items. Jae-hyun casually continued, making a lot of profit like that. I heard last year he even escaped from a half-crippled dungeon gate with a cunning look on his face full of disdain. Yeah, that's right. The job tomorrow seems very easy. In many cases, their actions even lead to assassination for pleasure. The new day begins with warm sunlight as Jae-hyun, still drowsy, gazes at something on his phone. He scrolled for a while, then gave up, saying, There's no one here. I probably came too early. Actually, I've been thinking about this non-stop since yesterday. Whenever I see Jae-hyun, I feel like he's about to say something, but doesn't. Suddenly, someone calls out, catching his attention, Brother. Manhwa angrily stepped forward and raised his voice. So you arrived first. Jiok looked up and replied, Yes, but hey, the amount of money is still the same as yesterday, right? Han quickly replied, Of course. He looked at Jiok with a forced smile and said, We just received a brand new mission. The entrance is nearby, inside a small cave. Let's go now. Jiok finds it interesting too. New mission feels pretty good. The ground is covered with lava and the wings of monsters lying around. They entered the hero's secret realm together. Jiok wondered, Jae-hyun, you said there are 2 bosses at this F-level gate, right? He replied, Yeah, that's right. You've always been suspicious deep down, as usual. The gate disappears after the boss is defeated. But if there are still survivors inside, it won't close. I also want to study these gates more deeply, but for now, let's focus on the mission. If just by carrying loads you can earn that much, maybe there's no need to rely on Il-sung's good words anymore. Jiok hesitated, looked at them, and then spoke. Ah, everyone. Since we've already passed this road before, why are they hesitating? Just point forward and explain. Look, the remains of the previous monster are still there. It seems we took a wrong turn. Does anyone here have navigation skills? Hearing Jiok ask, the two of them exchanged sneaky glances. In his hand, he clenched a ready bottle of yellow wine. Jiok looked around, checking for anything unusual, then relaxed, but when he wasn't paying attention, he quickly raised the bottle. They forcefully smashed the bottle into her, causing shards of glass to fly everywhere. You tremblingly sit clutching your head with a gun in hand while he pretends to be worried. So, don't worry too much, Kim Jiok. Just take a break and everything will be fine. You hold your deep wound on the top of your head, Genie. Why are the hunters attacking each other, Trang-ho, just casually sipping your drink? Oh my god, you guys, even a pack of violent dogs is better. Jae-hyun glared with contempt. He's enduring much better than I expected. With one strike from me, the level-locked monster will be finished in just 5 seconds. He screams in pain. Are they planning something? Can these ordinary illusions really defeat me? My resistance to magic paralysis is so perfect that if I haven't fainted yet, it's not because I can endure it well. This smell is really terrible, Jun whispers to Manhwa. Hey brother, I think 5 seconds have already passed. That statement hitting his hand made Ji-yoki feel dizzy. Like something was wrong. You cling to the scorching lava, and when the foul smell turns strange, running is the right choice. We all burn, brightly. Hey, what's going on? He's running away. Catch him. Now Jiok is speeding away from this disgusting place. Teacher Jiok, catch him immediately. He's running away, catch him now. Another member of the group reacts too late and just says, that guy, I thought he wouldn't be able to run anymore. Jiok keeps running without stopping, still thinking about the money. But at that moment, a long vine shot swiftly toward him, wrapping tightly around Jiok's leg. You lost your balance and fell, still wondering what these vines are about. Kim Jae-hyun used magic to catch you and couldn't help but marvel at how incredible it was. Last year, you still complained about being weak and clumsy, so how come you ran away from him like that? Please, I beg you. Are you still worried about those things now? Please let me go. Manhwa looked at Jiok in surprise. What is that guy? Why haven't you fainted after all that? The teammate shrugged and said, I give up. I've searched him thoroughly, but all I found was that cheap bracelet. Manhwa ordered Jae-hyun to put it down and see if it triggers anything. Jae-hyun suddenly releases the rope, causing Jiok to scream in pain. He clutches his head, exhausted, complaining, oh my god. Jiok hadn't even fully recovered when he heard the command. Listen carefully. Manhwa held the fishing net and pointed it directly at him as a warning. If you run away again, I'll pull out every one of your teeth before fixing you, understand? There's no other way, so you have to give in. Yeah, I get it. You can just speak softly. Jiok calmly requested, at least let me know why you are doing this to me. He looked up at the group intently. They turned away, not to look at him, but to stare at the gold bracelet on his wrist. Jiok also turned to look at the bracelet on his arm, seeming to understand something. He reached his hand to the right, and the group's eyes immediately followed to the right. He reached his hand to the left, and the crowd hurriedly looked over. Only then did Jiok point at his bracelet and ask, could it be because of this bracelet? You looked at it and understood everything, so you guys plan to knock me out. According to the information, its function is to withstand damage twice. With no limit on the method of attack, even S-rank monster attacks are the same. Jiok tightly clutches his bracelet, wary and unprepared for how this item puts him in danger. If he hands it over, it's over, but they plan to kill him to erase all traces. After a moment, Manhwa spoke up, and Kim Ji-ryeo immediately handed over the bracelet. If that's the case, I might spare your life. Jiok shouted in fear, don't come any closer. Surrounded by them, he warned, step back before I use up both of my protective measures. Do you think it's so easy to just give it up? Manhwa hesitated. Jiok calculated that at least this guarantees her survival. Just touch me and the shield will activate. Once you use up this bracelet, it will be just an ordinary piece of jewelry. But with this condition, I'm doomed. Calm down a bit, Jiok then asked. Kim Ji-hyun, can't you forgive me? Ji-hyun looked at you in surprise. What? Jiok continued, if you spare my life today, I'll pretend nothing happened. I'm not seriously injured, so how can I accuse you? Ji-hyun mockingly laughed at Jiok, saying as if it were true. Do you think we don't know that once you escape from here, you'll go around spreading rumors about our actions? Jiok, feeling defeated, realized he had been exposed. Manhwa, hearing that, clenched his teeth in frustration. This bastard. He charged forward, kicking hard, causing Jiok to fall backward without time to react. He grabbed your collar and shouted, are you joking? Your testing game with the dog really makes me genuinely angry. He kept saying as he raised his fist towards you. The punches kept coming down along with Manhwa's voice. Try using it now. Jiok's face was covered in blood. Manhwa still didn't stop, his face full of hatred, saying, try using the protective function of the bracelet, you bastard. The people in the hall looked at Jiok being beaten with contempt, and when that item ran out of uses, that would be your day of reckoning. Just as Manhwa was about to throw another punch, Jiok quickly kicked him. Please stop. Manhwa smugly thought, if only you had known to give up earlier, wouldn't that have been better? Gok's hand trembled uncontrollably. He thought to himself, this is the reality of oppression, being bullied and humiliated. Without strength, there's only shame. He touches his bracelet. If he can't get through this, everything will be over. Your injured person, with a dazed look in their eyes, perhaps their life is also hanging by a thread. Suddenly, footsteps echo from afar. Manhwa turned his head back, surprised and tense, wondering who dared to enter here on their own. Ok also tried to lift his head. Could it be that someone is here? Yuan Song hurried over in panic. Ok quickly called out, Yuan Song 30 minutes ago. Goko is staring intently at his phone, where Yuan Song is sending a message. He looks very excited. Luckily, even though I no longer have any value, he still treats and helps me like before. I thought to myself that with my boss I was just like a high-end gate lock. After being caught sneaking in earlier, I thought he wouldn't come looking for me anymore. He is willing to spend his precious time to improve my skills. The noble person in my fate must be him. Yuan Song thought with a smile, looking at the water bottle in his hand. And when we meet again, I must give him this first. 20 minutes later, Geok still hadn't arrived, and Yuan Song had been waiting until the rice bowl was empty. He looked down at his watch, his face full of worry. A little late, then glanced around. He had been inside for quite a while already. Didn't he say he would go through the emergency portal, so he shouldn't have taken this long? Then his face suddenly changed, a bad feeling creeping in. Could it be? He stood up quickly, clenched his fists, thinking to himself, what if the abnormal mutation and the portal's unusual level increase are connected? He hurriedly ran off, still thinking it couldn't be possible. This kind of thing doesn't happen often. He stepped into the forest and saw the non-time portal. He made up his mind, but still couldn't be sure, so he had to check carefully. He stepped through the gate, saw it, and Yuan Song reassured himself that there was no need to worry too much. It was just a forced-level gate after all. It seems like all the monsters have been cleared out. He walks while looking around, searching for where Zyok is. Suddenly, his face changes color. This sound is... Then he immediately ran quickly toward the source of the sound, silently calling out Zyok in his heart. Yuan Song charged forward, the shield already summoned in his hand. His face is full of surprise, and because he ran too fast, he's covered in sweat. The group fighting Zyok turn their heads back. Who dares to enter here without permission? Gehiun is the first to speak, asking Yuan Song why he's here. Zyok lifts his head, calling for help. Yuan Song, help me. These guys are robbers. They plan to kill me to take the item. Yuan Song couldn't help but be amazed. Am I hallucinating, or what? Zyok's scent was overwhelming and calm. How could he appear here like that? He calms himself, thinking, this isn't the time. Right now, what's more important than his confusion is, you full of aura, reckless, you frog-like bastards, isn't that right? Yuan Song coldly said, you frogs are really frogs, right? He radiates killing intent as he moves closer, the trash and slime looking for other hunters to prey on, and the guy sees this and panics, damn it. They all shouted and ran immediately, but it was too late, and Yuan Song quickly rushed forward to grab that guy's head. He just threw it straight ahead. I didn't expect even at this low level there would be someone so dirty and sneaky like a frog. Then, Yuan Song turned to look to the other side. Dealing with these guys doesn't require complicated tactics. Seeing their terrifying appearance, they all panicked and ran away. Yuan Song quickly chased after them at high speed, and the only thing to focus on was raising his fist behind the nearest one to adjust his strength. Immediately after, the guy was pressed face down on the ground by Yuan Song's hand. Then Yuan Song looked away again, and the arm with the shield blocked a nearby guy. The face of another guy was slammed into the shield, and then his hand shot forward with cold eyes. Yuan Song immediately grabbed the collar of a fleeing guy. He immediately kicked the guy to the ground, causing him to grimace in pain with a blue-purple face. Yuan Song then pressed his foot onto his shoulder. He looked down and thought, but anyway, these guys are too weak, just sheep or pushovers. Are you really going to let me be pressured by these guys? Suddenly, a shout caught his attention. Zyok, now with wounds all over his face, said thank you. Thanks to you, I survived. Yuan Song anxiously called out, hey, he's asking about your wound. Zyok. I smile. It's okay, you arrived too late, so you only checked in, right? Sorry, you must have been through a lot and worked hard. Yuan Song was startled and moved upon hearing this. At this moment, he couldn't help but remember that he had entered alone so many times before. Usually, just hearing sounds from inside the gate would make him scared, but because he was worried that he might be in danger outside, he no longer paid attention to anything else. When she got here, she was startled. Could it all be his plan? Yuan Song looked at Zioki's expression, wondering. Then at this moment, the two of them started talking to each other. Ziok said, "Let's get out of the gate first." He looked around and then continued, saying that as soon as he went outside, he would report everything immediately. He replied, "Yes." Yuan Song was just thinking, why didn't I realize this earlier? Even though he was attacked by other hunters, it actually wasn't him who was afraid, as if everything had been planned in advance. The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. Am I overthinking this? He has no reason to do any of this. Ziok suddenly called out to Yuan Song and continued, "If I were a high-level spirit, I would have teamed up with you by now." Hearing this, he was startled and turned back. Ziok continued, "Hunters like you are very rare. You truly are an excellent senior guardian. I hope you realize that too." Hearing this, a certain emotion seemed to rise in Yuan Song's heart. He was immediately moved, tears welling up again. Ziok's words struck deep into his mind. "If I were a high-level elder, I would have definitely formed a team with you." Yuan Song remembered that if he thought about it, the reason he couldn't form a new team and kept sinking into days of stagnation was because of Hungno's failure. "It's because I couldn't protect my comrades as a defensive spirit, and I also couldn't connect with the new hunters. But at this moment, it was you who saved Ziok, as those guys were knocked out, and saving a familiar person in danger right now." Yuan Song smiled. Maybe Ziok intentionally recreated that situation to help me have a successful experience. Thinking of this, he began to visualize Ziok's image in his mind. That's right. Everything was his plan from the very beginning when he called me to this gate. He looked at Ziok's face full of wounds, even those wounds he had created himself for the act, and he didn't expect anyone would be willing to do all this for someone else. So Yuan Song spoke up. "Hey brother, can I ask you something? Why do you always care about me like this?" Ziok looked at him and asked, "Do you care?" "Yes, I do," he replied. "You've taught me a lot and helped me train." Ziok calmly looked up and said, "Well, you're a good kid. That's enough." Hearing this, Yuan Song smiled emotionally. "Hey." Then they headed to the door and he thought to himself, he really is my brother. After stepping outside, Ziok looked at Yuan Song and said, "Finally, we're out. Yuan Song, can you cover for me?" He immediately said yes, and Ziok also apologized, saying the training will start tomorrow, he's going home now. Hearing that, he was startled and asked, "You're not going to the hospital but going home? Let me call a healer I know to come over. You stay calm." Tai said, "It's too troublesome. I can handle it myself. I'm leaving now." Hearing that, he called out, "No, brother," but watching Ziok's figure walking away, he worried that an F rank couldn't heal himself alone. Medicine costs are so expensive, maybe. He couldn't help but wonder if he no longer intended to continue pretending to be an ordinary F-level role in front of him. But behind that cool exterior, Ziok was pale and clutching himself. "Ah, my bones. My horns are hurting so much." A few days later at the building, Ziok, touching his wound, groaned. He wondered just how many bones he had broken. Only now was he starting to recover, at best a week of pain ahead. He just put on his clothes while reminiscing about being sold to human traffickers, dying because of thieves targeting his belongings, and today he still has to attend the guild meeting. Ziok sighed. It would be better to just get it over with. Why do I have to listen to my reasons one more time? I complain, honestly, even if I had a mansion, it wouldn't change anything. Ziok immediately grabbed the item from the table. What should I do now? Cover it with my sleeve? Only after realizing too late did he learn that the auction price of this item reached hundreds of millions, with immunity to damage twice, but still far from enough to buy the dragon's lungs. So Ziok put it in his pocket, but I still can't decide to sell it easily. From now on, I have to carry it without attracting attention. For someone like me who can't use magic, I don't know when or how I might need this. Ziok's face stiffened as he saw a shiny red luxury car in front of him, and some crazy guy was there in broad daylight. At this moment, the car window was rolled down, and as soon as he saw inside, he was startled. The person inside the car is Chango, who smirks as he looks at him. Seeing Chango, Ziok is furious and scolds inwardly. He's really a crazy guy. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have looked at him and just walked away. Ziok felt annoyed, and Chango smiled and said, "I know you're avoiding eye contact with me." He smiled and asked, "Hunter Z, okay, where are you planning to go now?" Ziok ignored him. "I have some matters at the Hunter Association, but maybe I spent too long in the sauna, so time has passed like this. I have to go now, so I wish you a good second day." At this moment, Chango suddenly smiled menacingly, so he left. Ziok had no choice but to follow and get into the car. Yes, you said so. Before I could even finish speaking softly, the other guy blurted out. Zok secretly felt annoyed. I didn't do this because I liked it. As an intelligent and educated alien, I am simply responding to the suggestion to resolve the issue through dialogue. You look at that guy smiling and feel confused, but why did he come all the way to my doorstep? The more I think about it, the more confused I get. If it's a secret related to Rong Song, I should have already guessed it by now. The kidnapping case last time only involved what related to Chango. I don't think I did anything wrong for that person to come looking for me on their own. Suddenly Chango pressed out and said, I heard the news. I heard you were attacked by frogs. Zayok was confused and asked why, then he continued, just a guy who survives by hunting hunters like us. Hearing this, Zayok was confused, thinking he was talking about the theft of the bracelet. But how did this person know about it and come here? So he nodded in agreement. Yes, that's right. Chang Ho continued, I heard you were injured, so I came to check. Luckily, not seriously hurt, right? Zayok also replied, yes, nothing serious either. You feel something's off. Wait a minute, what are you here to check? Chang Ho said with a smile, to check if the main hunter was seriously injured. That was a dangerous accident. Ket was dragged into the gate for a fight, caught off guard, and there's no peaceful day at all. I'm starting to wonder if you actually like dangerous things. Speaking of which, open the storage compartment. Zayok looked confused and asked, what is that storage compartment? He reminded him, there's a compartment under the knee, pull it out and open it. Zayok looked down and asked, is it this? As soon as I opened the drawer, a bottle of medicine was revealed inside. He immediately said, this is a recovery medicine. Then you probably don't need it that much, but since it's prepared, just take it. Zayok picks up the medicine bottle and thinks, this is a recovery drug from Earth U, maybe he gave it because he heard I was injured in the robbery. Things like this are very common back home. If someone gets hurt, friends will buy them recovery medicine. Remember when your friends also bought a medicine box? Remember to take this and get better so you can work for us, just like giving fever medicine to someone with a cold. Zayok turned to thank him, saying I will use it well, secretly thinking that accepting such a small gift is also polite. Chang Ho chuckled, are you not surprised even at that? Zayok felt puzzled. I'm really surprised that you suddenly did something kind, but I won't risk drinking this. You're secretly calculating in your mind, thinking of bringing it back for research, but who knows if there's something strange mixed inside. After a while, Chang Ho reminded you, we're here. Get out of the car? Zayok let out a sigh of relief. At this moment, they are standing in front of a large building. Chang Ho chuckled, saying he wouldn't get off. Since he had told me he had business at the Hunter Association, Zayok was surprised and immediately asked Chang Ho, I didn't expect you to take me all the way here. I thought you had your own business, Chang Ho replied. I told you yesterday that I was only here to check on your situation today. So take care of yourself and don't do anything reckless that could get you killed. Thank you. Hearing that, Zayok also unfastened his seatbelt and whispered, thank you. Then suddenly Zayok said, hey, Chang Ho. Hearing that, he let out a sigh. He looked inside the car and wondered silently, why do you care about me like this when before you even said that if I didn't cooperate, you would kill me? Chang Ho chuckled. I am quite interested in training talented hunters with potential, so I don't want to harm the main hunters if it's not necessary. Do you understand me? Hearing that, you still feel suspicious. You mean to say I should keep Zhongha's secret, but then what? Chang Ho looked at Zayok and continued, all right, then go ahead. I heard you took a long bath. See you later. Immediately afterward, he wiped the car. Zayok watched silently, thinking about training talents. Zayok's heart was full of suspicion, wondering about the training of hunters in Korea, how they even break through organizations capturing fake awakeners, and if they immediately bring medicine to those injured with talent. He only thought for a moment and then mentally labeled that person as a patriot, truly a devoted one. Then he turned around and went inside. I also want to think that way, but Zayok only considers the darker side of things. A fake awakener willing to kill his own kind to achieve his goals cannot be a righteous person. He continued walking into the Hunter Association building. But what puzzled him the most was why Chang Ho was so interested in someone like him. A low level. He closed his eyes to ponder, and the answer to this puzzling question would be revealed unexpectedly someday. Suddenly, he snapped his eyes open in surprise. Zayok started to feel confused. Could it be that immediately he opened the news page about shocking crimes targeting false awakeners? Could the cause of these murders be related to awakening, I wonder? Is that what this is about? Zayok speculates, ambition to develop based on a description on a website classifying the magic skills of Earthlings. This is a skill used to kill strong opponents and steal their abilities. Who on earth gave such a strange name to such an amazing skill? If I think of Chang Ho when reading this article, am I overreacting? Maybe now I should reconsider Chang Ho's actions. First, Chango once suggested supporting your hunting activities. Then secondly, he is very sensitive about famous awakening talents from the country being taken abroad. Then third, he advised me not to die. And when I put all these things together, Zayok suddenly imagined another terrifying image. That guy wants to kill you. Hearing this, Zayok was terrified. No way. You can't help but worry secretly. I'm really going to die. From the very beginning, I shouldn't have fallen into that guy's sight, but now I only have one choice left. So Zayok clenched his fists and thought to himself, I must deal with this miserable low-level body immediately, then transfer my soul to another body or cure this illness, and gradually after a few hours at Zayok's house, he sat still thinking, but I need to investigate. That is all. Even with determination to start anew, the desired outcome doesn't come immediately. Zayok is now lying on the floor, surrounded by splashes of blue, red, and purple. He was stunned and wondered to himself, thinking that reincarnation was supposed to be for rest, but after reincarnating, he still had to work. Just as he was questioning why, the phone suddenly rang, and Zayok quickly answered. As soon as he saw the incoming call number, he recognized it as an unknown number. Zayok answered and said hello, but there was no sound on the other end, so he immediately wondered why they called without saying anything. Hello? Who is this? The person on the other end immediately replied, This is Hunter Zayok, and upon hearing that, he let out a sigh. Wuian, walking by, then said, Sorry, but can you meet me tomorrow? Then the scene shifts to the next morning in the bustling city, where the sound of voices echoes. Sorry for calling at this hour. They are both sitting on the stairs, and she thoughtfully says, I think these matters should be discussed face to face. Zayok nodded and thought to himself, no need to apologize. Although contacts from the guild are usually troublesome, I'm also wary of this rookie hunter, so I'll just hear him out first. She looked at Zayok then. We need Zayok the hunter's analytical skills. She then asked if I could help her with this job for about 2 weeks, and I asked if she was planning to evaluate some items or something. Wuian explained that no, I am currently working with the police on a case. The criminals involved left traces at a gate, but we can't decode them, so the investigation is at a standstill. She recounted that we had invited all the government experts, but no results were achieved. Zayok asked if I wanted him to investigate that gate. She replied, Yes. Hunters might be different. You're the only one not affiliated with any organization, Zayok thought to himself. And indeed, specialists working in private companies are not easy to find. Wuian apologized, saying we can't offer high wages, the allowances have been cut, so it's almost volunteer work. You look confused, volunteering? She hesitated and continued. I know this is an unreasonable request, but please, can you help us? I also helped a hunter once, or rather, Zayok has been quietly observing Wuian all this time. She immediately turned away and said she was sorry for the rudeness. Please forget what I just said. Hearing that, does Zayok feel confused? She continued. Rescuing those who were kidnapped is a matter for the hunters. Bringing that up here is not appropriate. Wuian lowered his voice and said, If it's not enough, I will pay out of pocket to send more. Please cooperate with the investigation. He sighed to himself. I guess I should be a bit more shameless. Moreover, isn't this girl's job to work for the Hunter Association? Although sometimes she seems to assist the police with her search abilities, why is she so eager about this investigation? Zayok asked, If we catch the criminal, will there be any extra reward? She replied, I honestly don't get any benefits from this. She understands, but we still have to do our best to see how it goes. After all, every case involves someone's life. Zayok was amazed. Is it because she's an innocent and kind-hearted alien, constantly led astray by unethical and irresponsible superiors? Suddenly, she doesn't seem so bad. But in the end, it's still the same story. Zayok asked, Earlier you said you were even willing to use your own money to ask for my help, right? Wuian hurriedly replied, Yes. He immediately coldly said, Use that money right now. Hearing this, she was stunned. Zayok coldly said, Use that money right now. She was stunned and asked, What? How much? Then a delicious bowl of noodles appears, and Zayok immediately picks up a piece to eat. After finishing it, he thought to himself, This ramen is better than I expected. It's wonderful. Meanwhile, the person on the other side looked at him eating happily and was confused. What is he doing now? She felt confused, thinking she would have to struggle hard to persuade him to use it. But the first thing he said was, Wuian recalled, From today, during the 2 weeks of work, buy me a meal to wait for each day. With that condition, I will join the investigation of the gate. She also replied, Is that all? She struggled with her thoughts, so confused that she ended up bringing him to her favorite restaurant. But really, just a bowl of noodles? After finishing the meal, Zayok praised it, saying it was really delicious, and she silently thought to herself that he even ate more happily. Wuian couldn't help but wonder if there really was such a fake awakener like this. Most fake awakeners with sensing abilities become obsessed with darkness. After receiving a huge sum of money, they often indulge in luxury and decadence to the point of contempt. Yet this person only lives in a small, cramped room. She began to feel suspicious and thought, no, maybe he had just been used to living simply from the start. Wuian still felt confused. She remembered that at that moment, why didn't he run away during the arrest, but instead was present in a room with the leader of the human trafficking organization? And why did he sneak into a high-level portal? Yet doubts about him still piled up. Furthermore, after the information about his appraisal skill was revealed, he reportedly received countless praise. Wuian ate while wondering why he accepted his conditions. Is it just to repay the favor from that cornering incident? Anyway, it's up to the hunter Zyok to handle. I'm just using it as a tool to catch criminals. And yet you say you're helping. Even though it's an urgent situation and we have to cooperate for now, you must not slack off. Meanwhile, he picks up a piece of food and scoops it up. Suddenly, Zyok hesitated for a moment, but a gift is a gift after all, and eating it alone would be a bit rude. So he spoke up. Wuian, let's talk about work now. And she immediately looked up. Zyok immediately asked, from now on, which portal should we investigate? She hesitated for a moment before replying, there is terrorism. You hear that and are startled? Terrorism in Korea, she said. I was silent. Wuian continued. But their method is a bit unusual, not the kind of terrorism using bombs or gas explosions. So you find it hard to understand, then how? She replied, by strange luck. She started to recount that recently someone has been deliberately causing the dungeons to collapse, and today it seems much more dangerous and chaotic. The collapse of the phenomenon involves mysterious creatures spilling out onto the streets. The name is related to the characteristics of the gate. The gate is originally a passage connecting to another dimension, called a dungeon here, with a cycle similar to a bomb timer. Usually every 7 to 10 days, and for larger ones every 3 to 5 days, if the dungeon is not conquered and left unattended. By then, the entrance, that is the gate, will be destroyed. If an explosion like a supernova occurs, the dungeon will disappear. All the monsters inside burst out into the city at once. That's why this phenomenon is called a dungeon collapse. The process of human development and exploration was mainly driven by this phenomenon. After listening for a while, Ryu opened the door and said, but someone from the outside caused this disaster, you ask. How could that possibly happen? Wuian replies, we don't know either. We have to investigate from now on. The blonde girl continued, but if that dungeon collapse had happened, the gate would be gone. So there's nothing left to investigate, she replied. The gate still hasn't disappeared. Wuian softly said, that is why I said the culprits left traces. Not long ago, a fire-type monster appeared on the outskirts, which was a large-scale dungeon collapse. But the dungeon where the monster appeared still hasn't disappeared. Hearing that, he felt confused and worried. A few days later, Zyok stands in front of a gate, looking inside with an emotionless face, when suddenly a voice calls out. Zyok, the two people over there are coming? Wuian asks. Did you arrive early? Zyok replied. I came by taxi. When he saw someone inside the gate, Zyok asked, who is this? And he immediately answered. Wuian then replied, this is the person who will enter the gate with Hunter Zyok. The other also nodded as a greeting. He asked again, what about her? She replied, I will wait outside the gate. I'm not suited for fighting. I'm not a fake consciousness specialized in defense. She looked inside the gate and continued, even though this is only a level 8 gate, the gate suppression team has already destroyed the entire bot, so there's definitely nothing inside. No danger at all, just investigate with peace of mind. Zyok looked at the unstable gate. The two of them then entered through the gate, where the bright glow of lava illuminated everything. He wiped his sweat and thought, an hour has passed since the investigation inside the gate. Oh my God, with such a harsh temperature, there should at least be. Water, can I take a sip? Zyok wiped his sweat and looked around. There was nothing inside except lava, no monsters, no survivors. Why hasn't the gate collapsed yet? Then he looked around and said, shall we go back? It seems we've checked everything, Zyok replied. All right, but this time wasn't wasted. Thanks to it, we discovered something interesting. After coming out, Wuian turned to look at them. Both of them were covered in sweat, and she said, you're back. Wuian quickly approached to ask if they found anything. Zyok replied, just give me some water. Immediately after, he drank the bottle of water like a desert traveler. Wuian still asked, is there nothing unusual inside? Zyok, regaining his strength, replied, first of all, there's bad news. It seems very difficult to identify the culprit. Hearing this, Wuian was startled and worried. What? How could this be? He quickly added, There are no clues to identify the culprit, and no signs of interference inside the prison. If this is an forcibly opened passage, then Zyok continued, saying that this is a false exit. Explaining everything in detail would be too long, so I'll just give the main point. They all looked at the gate, and Zyok, with a terrifying knowledge of how to create and close escape routes in the prison, implied that this gate had been sealed by the culprit. Hearing that, Wuian was worried why the culprit did this, and if it was necessary to cause a collapse. Zyok looked up and replied, "Not necessarily." Seeing this, Zyok thought to himself that based on the clues about the gate, there are several ways to intentionally trigger the dungeon to collapse, but he immediately said that the number of passages was unrelated to the dungeon's collapse. He continued drinking water and said, Wuian replied, "Yeah, that's right." She started to recall and said, "There have been 3 such incidents this year. Those dungeons still had time left." Zyok was confused, but then suddenly they erupted, and he spoke up, suspecting there were 3 incidents in total, and this time they deliberately left an empty portal to attract attention. Wuian worried. Could it be not the same culprit this time? Zyok took a sip of water and said, "Right now there's no way to confirm anything. If there were more clues, I could try a few more methods of investigation." Then Zyok closed the water bottle and thought to himself, relying entirely on physical reality makes things quite inconvenient. So I told her, "Wuian, from now on don't go through this gate anymore." She looked confused when she heard that. Zyok continued, "I already said it. This fake exit isn't stable. This gate will disappear within less than a day." She listened anxiously, but this is the only way. Will it really disappear? Before that happens, I think I need to find a new connection. Hearing that, Zyok also felt surprised and worried. By that evening, the moon had risen high over Zyok's building, and contrary to Wuian's wishes, the gate disappeared before any progress was made on the investigation. And so, the only lead to catch the culprit was gone. And YM quietly looked at the phone in his hand. Since that day, the terrorist attacks also suddenly stopped. Then he gradually lost contact with Wuian. Zyok scrolled through the newsfeed while thinking. Since the investigation portal had disappeared anyway, there wasn't much related news either. Then suddenly he saw another notification. Lately, this case has been getting a lot of attention. A news report announced that the 7th victim of the series of disappearances in YAM district has appeared, just 4 days after the police set up a special investigation team and started searching for the missing persons. Zyok wondered if someone was really trying to cover up the truth. Many people were discussing this incident in the comments. But all the missing persons are ordinary people, not awakened ones. Why target regular people without any magical power? Suddenly, a call from Wuian, who hadn't been in contact for a long time, comes in. Zyok quickly answers, wondering if this could be a clue about the terrorist responsible for the tunnel collapse. You answered the phone and said, "Hello, Zyok speaking." As soon as you heard what she said, you froze. Zyok looks confused. He told me to go to YM district immediately, as the moonlight shines down on the mountain and the space is silent. Then inside the forest, a group of people was walking and talking, since they were called here anyway and had promises to keep. Zyok said, "If it's just searching for the missing, isn't Wuian's ability enough? I'm not sure I can help much either. It feels like we're just shifting personnel around." She replied that she had already tried to search for the missing people earlier and had activated her ability. Wuian also quickly activated his skill, but the location was a bit strange, and the 2 who searched earlier couldn't find any traces. Only when reaching the last person does the skill work normally. Underground, you are stunned. "What is this?" Wuian said, "I can sense the missing person from an unusual depth where they might have been buried. This is definitely not just a simple burial. My skill can pinpoint the location even after the target is dead. But in the previous 2 cases, I couldn't even locate the target, so there must be interference from the culprit. Currently, the missing person seems to be the main target, but I have a feeling this is a trap set up by the culprit." Zyok said, and she continued, "This is also why I called Kim Kir-yu here. Could it be they brought us here to find the trap?" Wuian looked back and said, "Yeah, this isn't exactly the place for a fake sensor anyway. A hunter would definitely make the search safer." He then asked, "What kind of hunter? This place is clearly a gold mine." She was stunned to hear that. Zyok then stepped forward. She looked at his back and asked, "What did you just say?" He replied, "Nothing." Zyok thought to herself, whatever, begging him won't do any good. As she walked, she continued, "Anyway, I already understand the situation. Let's keep searching." She listened quietly, and then they began to search through the forest, their footsteps leaving marks on the ground. Suddenly, she called out everyone, and Zyok froze and looked back. Wuian's eyes flashed blue as he said, "This is the place," and they all froze in surprise. She stands in the middle of a dirt mound and says that there is a missing person underground where we are standing, but she feels no movement. Hearing that, the people behind hesitate and wonder if the clue we need to find is there. At this moment, the four of them are gathered talking, possibly closer than we think, and they haven't noticed someone hiding behind them. Soon after, Wuian calls the others to start setting up the warning ropes. After hearing the story, the person approaching immediately said, "So the missing person is underground here." She replied, "Yes, Captain," and the captain then said, "Understood." He then signaled to dig it up and check, after which the captain began giving orders for Team 1 to continue searching around. Understood. Then Wu Yian looked at Ziok and said, "Come with me and check around," and he replied, "We've already found the location of the missing person." She was serious, but didn't we already say that the culprit intentionally led them here? There might be bombs or something dangerous nearby. You look down and think to yourself that although there are no signs of a big trap yet, Ziok responds, "I understand." "Hey, aren't you the person in charge here?" She replied, "I'm done with my part. Today I've used up all my search skill attempts." Wu Yian seems a bit down. "After 3 attempts at tracking, I feel like an empty shell. Now all the apprehensions and rescue missions will be handled by Team 2 since all the awakened are with them." Hearing that, you silently thought to yourself, "A hollow shell." Then Wu Yian turned back and spoke to you. "Hey, have you noticed anything dangerous lately?" You immediately reply, "No, I don't see anything unusual. At least in this area there are no signs of mana being used." Wu Yian forced a smile and said, "Ha, that's good." Suddenly she glanced behind her, sensing something. Wu Yian's footsteps stop and she says, "Wait a moment, Hunter Ziok. Stop for a bit." She points in a certain direction and asks, "Do you see that place?" Ziok looked over and asked, "What do you see?" She pointed to a tree and said, "Over there, beside that tree, it seems like there's a figure standing." Ziok immediately looked in her direction, wondering what she saw there. Having lived underwater in a past life, his eyesight wasn't too bad, but he quickly used mana to scan the area. Using mana, the person next to her asked again, "Do you feel like someone is standing there?" Ziok replied, "Huh. There is an awakened person there." She was startled when she heard that, an awakened person. "Are you sure?" Ziok looked in that direction and replied, "Yes, definitely." He thought to himself. Even though the source of magic is weak, Wu Yian quickly turned around and said anxiously, "I understand. Anyway, the situation is still unclear. Don't stay here, I'll call Team 2, Ziok said, and the person behind the tree moved slightly, behind the tree Wu Yian mentioned. At this moment, you seem to see the face of that man, the one climbing the mountain. Ziok looked at him and wondered, who is he? Is he related to the case? He must be an awakened person, probably with a lot of mana. But Ziok wondered what he was holding, while the opponent seemed furious and clenched his teeth. "Over here." Wu Yian immediately called the captain to point ahead and said, "Captain, over there." At this moment, a flash of spiritual power seems to emerge from his mouth, like thunder and lightning. Immediately after, he activates with great force, and Ziok feels his power suddenly surge. The other guy, the older one, looked at Ziok, and I was startled. "Wait, that guy." Ziok quickly turned around anxiously, just as the other was gathering a powerful amount of mana, and the target was probably Wu Yian over there, rushing over when I heard Ziok's voice. But at this moment, the other guy immediately used magic to create some kind of circle beneath the four of them, and Ziok rushed over at the same time. They stood inside the circle, looking around. Then suddenly a whirlpool appeared where they were, spinning around. Wu Yian struggled to stand upright against the flow of mana. Ziok immediately rushed over and said, "Don't panic." "What, Yian?" She looked confused and asked why he thought to herself, "Because we are about to fall down." Immediately after, a deep hole appeared beneath their feet, and the entire group fell into it.